Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Weekly Geek. I'm the Clown Prince of Podcast, Tress now, and I'm joined by
I am the last rights, Taylor Field.
Last Rites. Yeah, we got lots to talk about today, tonight, whenever you're listening to this, watching. That's why you subscribe to Patreon, because if you're listening to the main feeds, we're going to kind of split this into two episodes because we got a lot to talk about. So Patreon, you're just getting the whole kit of kin caboodle. You're good there. The main feed, look out there. But that's why you head over to Patreon. Lots of fun stuff's going to be happening. I think probably at the end of May, we're going to start announcing our... Like, we have our GV10 year, like our GV day that we do now. It's our second annual, but like I can throw this out. I think it's official now and it's happening, right? This isn't the official announcement, but I'm giving you guys exclusive. Saturday 9th, what we're going to be doing is a 10-hour stream, just like last time. If you join or up your tier on Patreon, we're going to make the stream longer. We got lots of fun things planned, some stuff returning from last year, some new stuff, so look out for that. But pretty much all of July is going to be a massive celebration. Like, I look at this calendar, not only do we have like the big reviews like Fantastic Four and Superman and all that stuff, but there's going to be some good stuff for kind of any error if you dropped, other than I guess if you just joined us in Geek First. But whether you've been with us for the past couple years, been with us for half the decade, if you've been with us since the very beginning, early years, there's going to be some really good stuff coming in July, late June. So we'll probably do an announcement, like a cast them next time all four of us together, and we'll make plans for that. But yeah, it's going to be a good couple months. You want to head over and be a Patreon, or I guess if you want to, if you've been waiting to become a Patreon, just wait until GV Day, because that'll make the stream go longer. And last year was tons of fun, and I think this year's going to be tons of fun. And I've been doing some... looking around and editing, just going through the old memory banks, and man, lots of good times and good things to talk about. So yeah, tune in for that. But yeah, Patreon, best way to support us, best way to listen. We appreciate everyone on there, and if you can't, that's completely fine. Just subscribe on the audio or video feeds, and then if not, you can join Discord as well too. We have a fun time talking there with everybody. Always good to pop off. Today we're talking about Taylor Clay was talking about how he thinks Taylor Johnson's, I don't know if he said bad actor, but he kind of put him in that category down there in Discord. Yeah, today.
I missed that. Clay said that.
Taylor sounds so sad today.
Clay, I feel like Clay's always crapping on Aaron Taylor Johnson.
He's got some hot takes recently, but yeah, we got lots to talk about, so we're going to quickly go through this section because it has to do with a little bit what we're talking about here. I guess I'll go first because I want to save Taylor's what we've been watching, because he is going to review Thunderbolts, because we're going to talk about X-Men possibly being a director, the Thunderbolts name change, the Ken Feige Wall Street Journal report, the trailers, we got Clayface news, we got John Wick news, we got a bunch of stuff to talk about tonight. But let me just promote some other stuff we got going on today. Promote the other shows and stuff we're reviewing or things while I share the link out for people.
The other shows and stuff and things, yeah. Oh my goodness. So right off the hop, once a week, we got the amazing GeekVerse side quest. There we go. GeekVerse side quest popping off once a week. Check it out. Patreon, where you get ad-free, exclusive early content, tons of exclusive shows like Mission Impossible retrospective, Superman, Man of Steel retrospective, tons of stuff leading. Tons of stuff leading right into all of these new releases coming up, like Mission Impossible and Superman, Man of Steel coming out in July. Lots of good reviews also, like Andor that we just popped off with. We got the finale to this season, the final arc dropping next week. We have Last of Us Season 2 that we are reviewing as well every Sunday. I know, it's exciting.
This is how I was watching Andor. Yeah. Taylor wanted to hear the orgasm. He wanted to hear the orgasm. I apologize if anyone's got kids in cars. Legitimately, if anybody, you shouldn't. We are marked explicit. I think unless you're a new viewer, you know what we're happening. But if anyone has children in the car listening to this, message us and we'll stop doing it. But it would take one person to actually join the Discord and message us, and we'll stop doing that on live.
You have to join the Patreon too.
Yeah, the Patreon producer tier. You got to be there for a long year. You got to write us a letter. All this stuff now. Yeah, thank you very much. But yeah, Andor's been great. Last was been great. So a lot of good stuff coming up, and Yeah, so as far as what we've been watching, I'll keep this relatively quick because I was on cast last week with Mr. Musk, so I talked a lot there, and then obviously Taylor's got the bigger one. But yeah, no, I didn't watch too much because I'm kind of like last year. I watched less movies than I did like the past 3 years. And I feel like that might be the case again because I feel like I'm watching a lot of TV. I just feel like I got a lot of projects where, like, if I'm editing, let's say, some certain videos for the GV10 year, I don't need to be so focused on a movie because, like, it's just editing old content of us putting together stuff like that. But I also don't want to watch something that I'm heavily invested in, like I want to watch for the first time. So I feel like that's where I've needed a TV show. And a couple, I guess, last month, maybe just last month, I needed that where I was watching because I watched Dexter, like I told you guys, I did the machete order of season 1 to season 5, episode 1, and the New Blood, and then I watched All of You again. So I needed a show like that where it's like, okay, I've seen this before, I can tune in and out. So that's how I stumbled back into Boy Meets World. I've not watched this show in ages. Like, this was a show for me when I was a kid, heavy rotation show. I was watching this show all the time, but I've probably not watched it like, and I have all the seasons too. Like, I own them, but it's now a bit more HD on the Disney Plus I watched there. Like, I don't know if I've watched it start to finish since I've been together with Emily, and we're coming on, God, like 13 years now or something like that. So it's been a while, and yeah, it's been a good time. I even fell through the rabbit hole because the cast is like a podcast where they watch each episode and talk about it. I don't know if I'm gonna go that way, but I just had found myself this week like listening to most of the podcasts that I listen to. So I don't know if we're gonna go that far, but yeah, I heavily enjoyed that show. Did you ever watch Boy Meets World back in the day?
No, I didn't.
No, well, probably a little bit before or yeah, a little bit before your time. But yeah, that was a big touchstone for me. So
Before my time. Were we born like almost the same year?
no, we're not. Aren't you 95 and I'm 93?
I'm 94.
Well, it was a year before your time.
Before my time.
It was a year before your time. So, yeah, I've been enjoying that. So it's just been a go-to. Like, oh, I'll put this on. Put this on. What else? I don't think me and Emily just started to get back into The Bear because season 4 is coming back on June 15th. So we're halfway through season 2. So we're like, okay, we're gonna finally finish that off. Did you ever watch A Simple Favor back in the day? The Anna Kendrick, Blake Lively movie. There's that sequel out now.
Oh, no, I did not.
Yeah. So I was a big fan of that original movie. And when they announced they were doing a sequel, I was like, oh, that's curious because I feel like we talked about this before. There's some movies that, it's not impossible. Some movies go, I think this was a good one and done. But, it was a surprising movie and I really liked the actresses in those roles. So I was like, okay, whole crew's back, whole cast is back. Let's give it a chance. So Another Simple Favor we watched last Friday, and oh boy, it was I suppose brought it up because I made it sound like it was probably close to my Woody Woodpecker experience last year. It wasn't as bad as that, but geez, it was tough, and it sucks that everything that's great about the first one is bad in this one. And this movie is, I think it's like 7 years later after the sequel, maybe 6. I could be wrong. Actually, I got them right here. Let's see. A Simple Favor came out 2018, and this is 2020. So yeah, so 7 years. It just felt exactly like those comedies that come out like a decade plus later, and they don't have the magic anymore, like a Zoolander, like a Wedding Crash, or like a Anchorman. What Wedding Crashers probably would have been, but yeah, it was real bad. It was tough for me and Emily to get through. We had to stop and wait. Sanju, I was gonna say we will talk about X-Men later, but we talked about that months ago because nothing new. Schreier reported he's been talking about that for a while. We'll talk about X-Men after this topic here, so don't worry, it's coming. But yeah, we have talked about that before, so it's somewhere in the archives. But yeah, I'd love more quality. Look at that. I got my Rogue shirt on right now, Taylor.
Very nice.
Yeah. Just naked, no shorts on. So yeah, that was really disappointing. Luckily, I wasn't excited for it, and it's not the worst thing ever. The actors are still good, but just nothing giving there. And yeah, it's just one of those where there's like a reoccurring joke in the first one, and then they do that in the second one, but it's a spin on that, and it's just one of these where like, oh, this is all you had, eh? So I watched that. I talked about last week. I don't know what to say on this one, but I'm going to talk about it very quickly. The Visitor. No, I'm joking. Everyone go look up. Everyone right now go watch the Visitor 2024 trailer. Me and Taylor just did, and man, what a ride! I watched Magazine Dreams. Do you remember what this movie is, Taylor? We talked
No,
about it
I
a long
don't.
time ago. Okay, so this movie was before everything went down. It was, hey, this guy's cast as Kang, and then he's had this movie that a lot of people are saying he's going to win an Oscar for. That was, I don't know if you remember, John. We talked about this either images or there was a trailer or something where Jonathan Majors was playing like a bodybuilder, and there was a lot of buzz around him. Do you kind of like that sound
Kind of
familiar?
sounds
Yeah.
familiar. Yeah.
And we're like, oh yeah, this could be some good. And then obviously everything happened, went away, and now it has come out. And it was just kind of like tucked away. It's a tough situation because like there's subject artists from art and everything like that, or remove, not subject, remove them. So I'm not going to get full much into it. I just will say that I definitely think that he probably would have been contention for an Academy Award, and I really enjoyed the film, and his performance is of course a part of that. Very brutal film. What I liked about it, which sounds bad, but it's similar in the Joker vein of there's almost times where it's kind of like a similar of an origin story of like what a villain would be. It is interesting with some of his accusations and the things that happen in the movie. You're like, oh, this is a little too close to life here, allegedly, right? But brutal movie about how people with mental illness can fall through the cracks, and also how they get taken advantage of. It was a really, like, I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. I did really enjoy it. Obviously, it's a sore spot to talk about, but I was just very curious because it was like an Academy Award talked about movie, but because all it went happens, like, no, that's not going to happen. And yeah, I watched that, and then we talked about this a little bit in the Discord today. I watched Drop. You remember that movie?
Yes, I remember that one. Yep.
Yeah, I think you guys talked about a trailer while I was gone. It was fine. It was like, you remember, because Emily said this. You've watched Red Eye before, right? With Cillian
Oh, yeah.
Murphy. And,
Yeah.
it's like a lesser version of that. It's fun. And the plot's not beat for beat that. It's just like a lesser version. And instead of a guy on a plane threatening her, it's someone on a phone, dropping her air messages. And there's some fun stuff. There's actually some really cool camera trick that I liked in there. Tricks, I should say. I was deciding between tricks and trickery. So one way or another, they're doing some cool stuff there. This is the first time. You watched 1923, right?
Ooh, which one was that?
I don't know. I think it's one with Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren, maybe. That's
Oh
part of
no,
your
I
whole
haven't.
universe there?
I haven't started it yet. In the Dutton family, Yellowstone. No, I have not started that one yet.
What's the other one? I feel like
1888.
you watched that one, right?
Not yet. No, they're on
Who's
my
in that
watch
one?
list. That one is why can't I remember
Or
his
is that
name?
the Harrison Ford one?
No, 1923 is the Harrison
Okay.
Ford one. The 1888 one is, what is his name?
Either. Well, Taylor searches that up.
Sam Elliott.
Okay, that makes sense. There's a guy you'll get there eventually. His name's Brendan Sklar, and a lot of people have been fan casting him as the DCU Batman. I've never seen him in anything before, so I could never say I'm for or against it. It felt like it's similar vibes like Jensen Ackles, where I'm like, I see what people are going for. It looks very comic book accurate. Mike and Clay were much more harsher on him in the Discord than I was. I thought he was just like, fine, like bland is the way I would describe him, but at the same time, it's a character that he's just the date on this that kind of gets brought into a bad situation. Like, it's not much to go off, and I've not seen 1923. I've not seen the. Did you guys ever watch that It Ends With Us movie, that Blake Lively movie that created all those lawsuits and everything?
Yeah, we watched.
Okay,
it.
so he's the guy. I'm pretty sure he's the nice guy she ends up with. He has like the beard. He has hair.
Oh,
Like,
is
he's a
that
good looking
right?
guy.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you watch it? Be like, he could be a Batman.
Hang on, let me pull up a recent photo of him.
So yeah, I'm not on that camp right now. I have lots of other picks. I know.
Oh yeah.
Even acting wise, though, you think he'd be Batman?
I think acting wise for sure. Yeah, you put the cowl on this guy, he's the Dark Knight.
Well, I'll say Drop didn't convince me on that. I can't remember my two picks because I had one that was more likely, but then I know people think I'm crazy. Actually, some people are with me. I'm pitching Sebastian Stan. Pitching Sebastian Stan a lot recently as far as my pick for Batman. I have last year convinced me with his 2-starring movie. So, but the movie overall was fine. It's like I think I gave it like a 3.5 out of 5 because, like I said, some good camera shots. And then I'm just over halfway through Freaky Tales. Remember that movie that came out earlier this year. It was like Pedro Pascal, Ben Mendelsohn. It's like a multiple stories anthology horror thing.
Oh, I think I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty disappointed by this one so far. Now, I will say that they do them in chapters, and I'm literally on the last chapter. I just didn't have time to finish it. So I do think it's a situation where multiple characters do pop up in the story. So maybe the last chapter is going to be so good when it all comes together, I'll feel differently. But it's not bad. There's one really cool cameo. I did not think like a pretty massive star like for the past, I don't know, 4 or 5 decades. So I won't spoil it. I think his name is now on the poster. They tried to sell it, so he only has one scene, but it's really cool. But yeah, definitely disappointed. I love the horror anthology genre. I think just a fun genre because it's just a great variation of mixed. Are you searching up the poster to see his name on there?
For who?
Never mind, you're fine. I just heard you.
No,
type
I
away.
was I was still looking up Mr. Batman here. He was in this movie called The Housemaid with this comes out this year with Sydney Sweeney, Amanda
Yes.
Seyfried, and
Seifert, yeah.
Seyfried.
Yeah. So yeah, no, that was a movie I remember I talked about on a newscast when the trailers. I was very excited, and it didn't really do it for me. So yeah, that's just what I've been watching. Not too much. Few things here. There are a couple other movies to cross off this year's list. But yeah, Taylor, what have you been watching other than obviously the Marvel film you saw last week? We'll talk about that to transition into our main topic here. But yeah, what else have you been watching?
Yeah, what have we been watching? We'll have to get back into the Bear. We're halfway through season 3, and we took a bit of a break. So what was I watching show wise? Again, I don't think I've been watching anything else aside from what we've been reviewing. A little bit of Supernatural, but not a lot.
Would you
Uh,
like Jensen Ackles as Batman?
Jensen Ankles.
He's one of the main guys on Supernatural. He's like the blonde one. I don't know. There's Dean Sand,
Oh,
right?
I could
Like
see
short
that
of
actually.
Buzzcut.
Yeah, I could see that actually, but at this point, I think the ship has sailed. There's other candidates I'd take.
Like
Um,
Scalar.
Scalar. We watched National Treasure. That one is always just a gem. We're just looking
Right.
for a good, feel good kind of movie. And it's like, you know what? This is just you got a little bit of that zany Nick Cage in there, but it's just it's an awesome thrill ride. I got
Did you watch two?
uh not yet.
Are you a fan of them equally, or is one more superior than the other?
I'd say one is more superior.
Yeah.
But I like two. I think two is
Taylor's
pretty
putting some out here.
awesome.
It's a nudie mag.
Yeah. I have
What does he have? Oh,
I have the
no.
Declaration of Independence.
Oh, jeez. Don't be showing that on air. We're gonna get in trouble.
So yeah, that's right. I went. My mom lives further away, so I went to visit her, and she just loves to give me things like, "Here's a stuffed animal for your daughter. Oh, here's a couple picture frames. Oh, here's a kid's book. Here's a Christmas book. And then here's the Declaration of Independence." So it's pretty cool. This is my claim to fame. I'm gonna get this mounted on the wall
Yeah.
somewhere. But yeah, so we popped out the National Treasure and we watched it, and that was quite magical.
Nice. Before we continue, because I forgot to S-Pubs put a comment. I didn't want to ignore him. He says, have you guys watched show Poker Face, Ryan Johnson, Natasha Lyonne? Season 2 just started. I haven't started yet, but I love season 1. Weekly murder mystery show. Really fun guests each episode. Natasha Lyonne is great. No, I've heard lots of great things. I think it's on the list at some point. I think I'm just kind of waiting to be in the mood, which sounds stupid because it's like that's a TV show, but there's just certain times. So yeah, no, I've not watched it, but I've heard nothing but great things. So maybe at some point down the line. Taylor, you ever watched Poker Face?
No,
It doesn't sound
I'm
like he's
looking
getting
it up now. Yeah, I recognize. Yeah, I recognize the poster.
Yeah,
I
I
just
think it's
know.
like in a glass, like a Knives Out type of feel. So maybe when the third
Okay.
Knives Out comes out and I want that, maybe I'll binge and stuff. So
The only real experience I have with Natasha Lyonne is in American Pie and Orange Is the New Black.
yeah, just American Pie for me. I've never seen Origin of the New Black, and that's something we talk about. God, who's the jock in American Pie? What's his name?
Stifler? No.
No,
I know
he's
who you're
the
talking
asshole.
about.
Yeah. Anyway, so the band girl, the sing girl he's with, that's something funny when I've been watching Boy Meets World. There's so many people that are guest stars in there when
Oz.
they're a young act. Oz, yeah. So not him, but the girl, she was in there. It's just like a fling for Corey Matthews. It was crazy. Did you ever see 10 Things I Hate About You?
Mm-hmm.
So the cat's little sister and like the jerk jock, she like is dating kind of has like long hair. They're both in there. Oh, who else just popped up recently too? Shit. Oh, Brittany Murphy was in 2 episodes, or yeah, Brittany Murphy. She's the one that passed away, right? Am I wrong about that? Yes,
Murphy.
Brittany Snow's in Pitch Perfect. Brittany Murphy's the one that passed. So she was in the 8 Mile
Died
movie
in
and stuff.
2009.
So she was in there. Fuck, there was another person. Oh, so Adam Scott, he played 2 characters. One episode, he was just a random extra where he was in a band and he got Corey to hold his guitar when we went to the washroom. And then like a season later, he came back as like a bully for like an arc and stuff. So, anyways, continue.
What else was there? And I know, you and me, we've had talks about it. So I didn't put my review on my letterbox, even though I listed the movie on there. Tron Legacy. I really had an itch and just wanted to watch it.
I forgot. We kind of might do a retro for that. Yeah.
Which I'm game to do it. I'm game to rewatch it because going back and getting into this, I thought, wow, there's a lot that I forgot, and I have a lot of questions going into Ares now. And I mean, Legacy, like I really enjoyed it. It was a really awesome, fun time. But I remember, like the last time I watched it was years and years and years ago. And after we were talking about the Ares trailer, and you're saying they should go back and change the CGI face and of Jeff Bridges. And
you can't find a single clip of me saying that you should go back and change it.
I remember that conversation because you should go back and like fix it or do something. And when I put the movie on, I was like, man, this did not age well. Everything else is great.
I'm going George Lucas. That. You can't go back. You can't. Once it's out there, it's out there. I didn't,
But now that's on Disney Plus. Just like upscale it or do something like that. That's what they should do. But the movie is. It's a fantastic movie though. I really like it. Even though I'm hearing more and more that other people didn't.
Really?
Yeah, hearing that
I hear
it was
the other way. I thought it was people didn't really enjoy it when it first came out, but then it kind of got a cult following as it went along.
That yes, that's what I meant to say.
But you're hearing you made it sound like recently you're hearing that people don't like it.
Oh no! I just from what I've been finding. Is what I'm trying to say is what you just said.
You're looking at Reddit threads from fucking 2011? What's recent?
Yeah, I gotta date check these Reddit threads.
The Tron Legacy Reddit, it's not popping off. Like I thought.
And then last but not least, last night, me and my wife, we whipped out the puzzle and put on a movie while we were puzzling. We watched Trap. This is the second time I've seen it. I put it on because I thought she would enjoy it because it's a good movie. I really like it. It's a lot of fun, and I can't remember his name, the actor, but
Harnett.
Josh Harnett. Is he related to Bill Harnett? Is that the guy's name?
Who the fuck is Bill Harnett?
Oh no.
That's the other one I agree with. I'm more in the people pitch Josh Harnett as being Batman. I like that pick a lot because he was one of the people that met with Nolan back in day for Begins, and I guess he actually had turned it down, Harnett, because he didn't want to do that stuff. But if we're getting older Batman, Josh Harnett's another one I'm completely on board with. Way more than Sklar, way more than Ackles. There's another one out there that people pitch that I just like. I don't know. In my opinion, people got some bad fan casts for Batman, so.
So there is a Bill Harnett. He acted in the Shadow Society, 2021.
I don't think they're related.
No, I don't.
And you just pulled that name out of your ass. Who did you think Bill Harnett was? Were you thinking
I thought
Bill
there's
Hader?
another. There's a possibility.
Yeah, and you thought Bill Hader's last name was Harnett, but it's actually just Hader.
I thought there was another Harnett out there, but
well, guess what? They're not related, Bill Hader and Bill Harnett. So,
yeah. Other than that, what else? I think that was it. I don't believe there was anything else. If there was, I can't recall it. So. I guess Revenge of the Sith, but I think we already talked about that.
Yeah, what about Will Arnett? Different though, because that's Arnett and there's Harnett. So yeah, what about
what
Will
I say?
Arnett?
I said Bill Harnett, because I was
Yeah.
detail. You're absolutely spot on. I was thinking Arnett, and then Bill also works as another name for Will, like William Bill Turner. Like
I
it all
could
fits.
I could even be wrong that his name might be Josh Hartnett instead of Hartnett. I don't know. I've never met the man, but
There is a
again,
T. Hartnett.
Hartnett. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So there you go. But yeah, then transition into tell us in non-spoilers. So, because in case we haven't seen it, then you can check out the full review. Obviously, it's just going into the second weekend. So, what we're going to talk about here, we're going to let Taylor talk about his overall thoughts for Thunderbolts. We're going to talk about the director doing X-Men, and then we are going to talk about some of the marketing that could spoil some. If you've stayed off of social media and not seen the movie, stay away because we'll be talking about some of that and if it was a good idea. So once we get to after the X-Men portion, maybe skip ahead like 5-10ish minutes, or you can do all these the cutouts, and then we'll be back to regular show. We're not spoiling stuff and just overall stuff. But Taylor, what did you obviously? I saw your thoughts on Letterboxd, and I'm sure a few of our great fans did as well. But in long form, what did you think about Thunderbolts?
Well, yeah, I'll start off with the short form, as you mentioned there, and then break into the in depth. I like the movie more than I thought I would. Not all the humor was working for me, but I'd say a fair bit of it was actually really jiving with my funny bone. I really
Was
like
it
that.
multiple
And
moments, or was it just a character that didn't work for you?
it was multiple moments,
Okay.
and multiple characters. They had a lot of really good comedic timing here. I really like Ghost a lot in this. I think she got a lot of not like a huge massive deep dive character arc development, anything like that, but I think we got her character fleshed out a little bit more, and I liked her being part of the team. I really liked Red Guardian, and I remember you and me talking about this, like him being in the What If, the animated version, not the same, but him being live action, I think that it's just night and day difference. And I think being able to actually see the expressions on the character's face and getting to actually see how they break down these scenes and do different things it was hilarious. It was absolutely freaking funny. And I think as well with how they brought Bucky in following Captain America 4, I guess following Captain America
Yeah.
4. Yeah, cuz even though you get a little bit of a sample of him in that still counts. Him being where he is now and them kind of pushing this new narrative with this character I really like. And again, the humor with this character when again getting the spoilers when they're trying to go rescue Bob and they're all in like the dream world or whatever of like their past, their consciousness, their memories, and when they all get into the same room with Bob in the attic, he just casually just says, "No, my past is great. I didn't have any problems." Or it's just like of all the people, that would be the one guy you wouldn't want to go and experience that past. But the little attention to details when they all jumped through the walls and came into Bob's room, and behind Winter Soldier, it's like you can see it's the like the Hydra room, whatever from where his testing was in Russia.
I did say non-spoilers, so be careful.
Oh, did you?
Oh yeah, it's not even the movie's not even been out for a week.
Oh, I thought you said spoilers. Skip 10 minutes. Oh my god, I glazed.
No, when we're talking about the marketing that they did of the new posters and everything.
Oh.
That's I meant skip 10 minutes. Oh my god, we're so close to catastrophe
Interrupt me
there.
sooner. I spilled some beans
He's
there.
loosely enough. It's fine. I'm like, oh man. And then Doctor Doom came out and holy fuck.
Oh yeah, fuck. Okay, yeah, non-spoilers. I think everyone just really brought their A game. I really do. And I think that they had a lot of surprises with Valentina and how they progressed further and further. And there's one moment that I really laughed, and that is in relation to our ChatGPT episode with Yelena and the dynamic with some other characters. I think that was really funny, even though that's not what they were insinuating. It's just they were pushing development with another one of our characters attached to this team. So I can respect that, I can take it for what it is. But when this movie wraps up and you get to the ending, I was super stoked and pumped for what was to come next. And I do wish that we had a little bit more time with these characters because yeah, I think that there's still a lot more to explore with them and their capability of working together and the dynamic and the humor that's kind of involved with all of them. I think they bounce off really well with each other. So I'm excited but sad to see where it goes because this is not a spoiler. I don't think a lot of them are going to survive Avengers Doomsday. I really don't.
Wow.
So
Damn, that's sad to hear. But
Yeah.
well, there you go. So let's hear your thoughts on Thunderbolts. What did you end up? What would you give it?
Ooh, what did I give it? I gave it 4.5 out of 5 because I liked it a lot more than I was
So what would that be
expecting.
out of 10?
Ooh, what is the equivalent of
Oh, God.
4.5 out of
You should
5?
just know this. This is how your mind works. You don't need the math to do this.
What would that be? Like a 9?
Okay. When I give a 4.5, to me that's like a 9 or 9.5, somewhere in there.
Okay,
You know?
I'll take the 9. I'll take the 9.
There's like a big jump of variations. It's like that. 4 stars, like an 8, 8.5, 3.5, 7, 7.5, 3, 6. Yeah, you can pretty much figure out. It gets dicier when you get to below 2.5 because those are much bigger radiuses to cover. But you know,
I'm trying to break free from the calculation where how does it go? If I give something and it's inflated, obviously. If I give something a 9, you divide by 2, add 2. That's what it was, right?
back in the day, yeah,
Yeah, back in
that's
the
how
day.
that's
And
how
you would get a scary, accurate kind of rating for a project.
it would be, yeah, because we didn't trust Taylor's high reviews there. So, but what I do trust is this director for X-Men. But we're gonna take our first ad break, and then we'll be right back. All right, we are back here. So yeah, we're going to talk about the name change for Thunderbolts coming up here in a second, or whatever the way they're marketing. But today it was put out there by Deadline, and then a bunch of the other SA tier scoopers backed it up. So it looks like it's happening. It seems like Drake Schreier is going to be directing X-Men, the MCU's X-Men. Also, we don't have a date, but there's been lots of previous rumors that this might not be as far away as we think, which sounds funny because like they did buy Fox so long ago. But I think the idea was kind of like, oh, you'll get Doomsday and Secret Wars, and maybe it's a little bit like a cool down period. But it sounds like this film could be right off the top. It could be even the first film we get in like the new saga, which is obviously just going to be the Mutant Saga. But now, Taylor, that you have talked about that, I guess I'll go because you did just. You know, it is your turn. It's my turn. But so this is interesting because I think it was a couple months ago. It's before I had left the podcast for a little bit there. They announced a writer. I remember it's like Michael Leslie or something like that. He really like the last Hunger Games movie, and I thought that was. I think it's fine. Like it's like okay, I get it dealing with younger actors, but then I don't know if they have something to do with one another. There was a scooper last week that put out that that might not be the full script they're going with, which we'll talk about in the DC world as well, but might not be the full script they're going with because I do agree with Espos and other people where I think the people that are also, even if you can get one of them that should be including this, are the writers of Thunderbolts because they are the writers from Beef, and I love Beef. Beef was a fantastic show. Excited for second season. I don't even know if they're writing the second season. I think they are, but for me, this is a really good pick because obviously it's a kind of a classic like MCU, like it's kind of funny, right? Like because I have it here, the next 4, like there's more films that are rumored, but like all the next ones. You got the Russos directing Avengers and Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, right? That's a returning player. Obviously, Ryan Coogler said he's come back to do Black Panther 3, returning player. Fantastic Four, that's Matt Shakeman, who did WandaVision, returning player. Spider-Man 4, Daniel Destin Cretton, returning player. And now you got this. I think we talked about this a while. We're going to talk about this in the next episode when we talk about Kevin Feige's Wall Street Journal report of just, you can see a lot of things in general in media completely, but definitely with MCU that they're going back to basic and maybe back to formulas, the better expression. And I think just using the tried and true people, I think this was because obviously Thunderbolts, we're going to talk about money-wise, what it made and what it could make in the second weekend with some of their marketing they're doing right now. But I think they wanted to see like, hey, do people like this? Because, remember, before Last Jedi came out, Rian Johnson had a trilogy of Star Wars movies being ready to be made. Now, if you go back in history and you sit down with Kathleen Kennedy and you go, hey, just wait until after Last Jedi. If that movie comes out and it gets that reception, they probably don't announce that trilogy, right? But they were just so confident before. So I think that's why we got this kind of a week after that. Hey, even if it's not making gangbusters, like mucho money, people seem to really like this both critically and audience wise. I think lots of people were surprised by it. So I think that's one thing. And hopefully this sticks, right? Because like talking about Daniel Destin Creighton, he was directing Avengers Secret Wars, or what was it, King Dynasty at one point, right? So this isn't set in stone. Things could always change. But what I like about it, because to me, X-Men is my favorite Marvel brand. You know, Wolverine's my favorite Marvel character. I just love the X-Men in general. I think I can see, and some people, I get it, may want to flash your choice, maybe want something different. Flash your choice, you weren't going to get that. You're going to get people, especially now that work well in the Marvel system after they've had a lot of issues, or you're going to get some independent person you'd never heard of, which, you know, could be good, could be bad, but whatever. This is a name we know. And what I like about it is the best part about Thunderbolts was the connections with the characters and what they all personally went through. You got action, you got comedy, all that stuff, but the stuff that's going to be remembered is the stuff with Void and Bob and all the other characters, and that opening monologue, you know, minor spoilers with Yelena talking about, like, you know, how depressed and lost she is. Like, that's what that movie was about, right? And I'm not saying that's what X-Men should be about, but X-Men deals with different things as far as feeling like an outsider, feeling like you don't belong, feeling like an outcast, feeling like the world is against you. And I think Thunderbolts has some of those isms, but not, to me, it's not like a one-to-one. Like, I don't think they're going to be doing like the exact same, like a movie about mental health and illness. I think if you feel dejected by society, of course that would impact your mental health, but that's why you still need good writers included, and I think those writers could come aboard and rewrite that script. I think that if I look at this director and what he did with Thunderbolts, go, okay, I can see how we get from Thunderbolts the X-Men with this character. Because to me, that's what, or with this director, because that's what's most important to me with X-Men is the character, even if it's something like the stupid mutant high school drama, right? Like, I feel like when we talked about 97 and the show, that's the stuff we like. Like, yeah, okay, it's cool seeing Wolverine chop up Sentinels, but what we liked is the character dynamics with them all, right? So on paper, as of right now, if you're just saying, hey, you know, this is going to be the director, I'm sure there's, like, of course, I would love Ryan Coogler, but he's doing Black Panther 3. There's other directors that could have pulled that out of a hat, like, yeah, this should be it. But if you were to sit me down, and after I just saw Thunderbolts, which surprised me a lot, and again, also an ensemble movie, that's what X-Men does as well. My hope is that, unlike Thunderbolts, this movie's not 2 hours. I hope this is longer, because I think Thunderbolts could have used a little more. It wasn't our notes, we didn't talk about it, but there's a lot of stuff that came this week of like, oh yeah, like Ghost had a scene near the end and we did this. Like, there's some stuff that I go, oh yeah, this could have been longer. But yeah, after you've seen Thunderbolts together, do you feel that this is, you know, could be a safe pick? Because again, someone they've worked with, that's all their movies coming up is all people they've worked with. But how are you feeling this is the person that supposedly going to be tackling the MCU X-Men when we get there in the next few years?
Let's make it happen. I mean, like you mentioned, ensemble, cast. I mean, you need to have a director that can kind of handle that, which this director can. And after seeing Thunderbolts, this is not obviously a spoiler, but there's certain scenes where it's not any fighting, it's not anything crazy. It's just the team is just they're having downtime and they're talking, and it's just it's something that I feel like I've grown to appreciate the older I've gotten, and it's probably not necessarily like a big hit for kids. Kids aren't probably going to get bored. They want to see their heroes fighting and doing cool things and all that. But I think the adults can really appreciate these kind of moments. There's something just fun and very comedic in a lot of the things that they converse. It just touches back to, I think the first time we ever got that was Age of Ultron, when they were all just like shooting the shit.
Well, I think Iron Man still had that though, because Tony's just a talkative character, right? Like, maybe not the multiple heroes, but there's many downtime where it's just like him and Rhodey, there's a stripper in front of them and Rhodey's drunk and they're talking, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I think that them bringing that dynamic into here would be great. And yes, you had mentioned the Beef writers. I think they need to come along. I did not finish Beef yet, but I need to. I love everything that I've seen. There's a season 2 coming out, is there?
Yeah,
not?
it's an anthology though, but you should, because Kaylee Spaney, who was an Alien Romulus, is in it, but also I'm 99.9% sure Oscar Isaac is in it as a lead. Isaac.
Oh, I think you're right. I think I heard.
Because I think it's him and Carey Mulligan. Yeah, because it's him and Carey Mulligan. You the second you see Carey Mulligan, you would remember her. She played remember in Saltburn they had that friend that was crashing there, and she's like super annoying.
Oh yeah.
God, what was her name? I can't remember. She's like a meme in the first half of that movie. But there, I think, and then you got Allison, or you got Kayla, oh my God, Kaylee Spaney and Charles Melton. So I think it's like an older couple versus younger couple sort of situation. So
She was in Pride and Prejudice. Oh my goodness.
yeah, I found that out when Emily Madison saw it. I was like looking at the cast, like, geez. Taylor, like on topic but off topic, saying you asked, should the MCU X Men start with solo movies or focus, or should MCU movies start with solo movies focus on each other's? What do you think?
Oh no, I don't think they focus on a solo movie. I think everyone is familiar with these characters, and I think if to each his own. But I feel like if you're putting out a Wolverine movie and a Gambit movie and a Cyclops movie, I feel like you're kind of not watering it down, but you're spreading yourself too thin, and you're trying to capitalize off of one character and build up that hype. Like, okay, we're gonna do 4 or 5 movies before we get the X-Men, and just financially
Yeah.
take advantage of people's wallets. I don't like that.
I think, what is that expression? Like the sums or the parts are, God, I'm butchering it.
Sums of
right?
our choices. We are the sums of our choices.
What the fuck church are you going to? It's like the sums of the
Mission
parts. Hang
Impossible.
on. Sums of our parts. Hang on here. Let's
The
see.
sums of our
here.
parts.
It's
Yeah.
God. It is. It's an expression. It's like the sums of the parts are greater than. I'll try to find it, but I think, let's see, expression here.
The whole is greater than the sum of the parts.
Thank you. Sorry. This is what happens when I got Thursday kids soccer. It's a rush. It's like after school rush.
Where did you pull this quote from? Where did you hear this from?
Heard it many times in my life. Like the whole is greater than some of its parts, right?
Yes.
Okay. So here's the thing where I don't think I'm with Taylor that no, I think you can have a few people. I think obviously Wolverine had he had 3 solo films, all successful, right? And he was with Deadpool and Wolverine. I think that is a character that, yes, you can do. I think even to the point that they could do an X-Men movie, a Wolverine movie, and you bring Wolverine into that, and then he can go off and do his own thing again. I think there's certain ones, but I think it's much like the Fox universe before, like Sony. The reason they do all these villain movies, we're going to talk about with Clayface later, is because they can't do like a Spider-Man movie per se, right? Or at least they didn't want to. Same thing with Fox. I don't know if if Disney owned the X-Men, if you would have been getting First Class and Wolverine, and we're going to try and do a Gambit movie and all like those solo X-Men ones, right? Even Deadpool, who knows? Maybe it took a while. I think for me, there's a few characters like a Wolverine. I'd have to think more that you could spin off. And maybe if you do an X-Men movie and someone really pops, you could do that. Like, hey, like, let's say that rumor is true, right? And Margot Qualley is Rogue. That's a big star, big character. Maybe you could do something. Maybe you could do like Deadpool and Wolverine where it's a Rogue. That's somewhere I could see like a Rogue and Gambit movie. Maybe not one by himself, but that I could see like, oh, it's like Bonnie and Clyde, them getting in trouble, all that stuff, right? For me, I think that the Avengers works because let's just go with the core 4, right? I know those are the members, but you got Thor, Cap, Iron Man, and Hulk. They all those solo movies, they do the Avengers, and then they split off and they wait till the next big threat, right? You can't really do that with X-Men. Like, to me, like once they're together, they should be together for the most part, and it just feels weird to like they assemble. Let's say the first movie is about, okay, they're because we don't know, maybe they're established team, whatever. Let's say it is about them getting to the X-Mansion, meeting Charles, all that stuff, right? I feel like it's weird of like they do that and then Scott, it's like, well, I'll be back next time, and okay, see you later, Gene. Like, no, they should be a unit moving. They should be it sounds weird to use an example, but they should be Guardians of the Galaxy in my opinion. They should always be together, barring a few characters. Like I said, Wolverine, he's been in billion-dollar movies, so like you could spin off a Wolverine movie, sure. And there's many other people. Like I said, maybe someone really pops, Rogue and Gambit, Magneto, sure. But for the most part, I think that you gotta pick and choose. I think like the TV show we're gonna talk about later, but like I think there's stuff you could do there. As I've pitched before, I love the idea of doing like a Hogwarts sort of like go after all the C and D list mutants and have them in classes and do stuff. And maybe get, okay, 1 or 2 of the actors to be teachers, but nothing too big. So for me, it shouldn't be that route. And that's where it's something that's interesting is I saw one, and I had this vibe. I talked about this in the review, and we'll see how Thunderbolts does later on. This news does worry me in one sense, where the one scooper, and they're like a C tier, but they said, hey, I heard about this a few days ago, I was going to put this out. But they said that they heard Jake Schreier would only be the director of this if they weren't planning on doing more Thunderbolts. And that was the same vibe that I got with this, because we got Shang-Chi. A lot of people liked it. No Shang-Chi 2, but that director, he's got a gig. It's just not Shang-Chi 2, right? Wouldn't you, like, isn't it weird? Like, he was on Avengers movie, now he's on Spider-Man. Why no Shang-Chi? Same thing with Thunderbolts, even if this marketing ploy, and even then I think it said, like, it had the best Tuesday jump up from a Monday ever for a Marvel movie, whatever, right? Like, hopefully second weekend does good. Word of mouth. Hopefully it's not a big, massive drop like Brave New World was. But even then, it's not going to be a massive hit. I think that's why also what Taylor's talking about, like spreading them out. I think they are going to go back, and we're going to talk about this again, the Feige report section, but people are going to hate this. They're going to lead with their heavy hitters. They're going to lead with, let's say they do 3 movies a year, go past like even what's coming out with Black Panther, everything like that. That's going to be an X-Men, a Doctor Strange, a Thor. That's 1 year. The next year would be Fantastic Four, an Avengers movie, Spider-Man, or maybe something else, right? Like, I think they are going to mostly just do the big ones, and I think they're going to look at this stuff where, don't get me wrong, Thunderbolts characters could be in stuff, or the Thunderbolts could be a team of like, hey, whenever we do Avengers 7, the Thunderbolts will be back. I would love it to like hear that they're doing a Thunderbolts 2. I don't think that's happening. I think this was risky enough. They're just happy that a lot of people like it, and they're going to take what they can get. But I think that from now on, the movies, it's going to be big time players. Because like obviously before we used to have like Thor and Cap and Iron Man and Guardians. Like right now, currently, who do you think are like S tier Marvel characters that you can't bring back, right? Like no like Iron Man, Downey. Like who are characters that you think are guaranteed hits?
Oh my goodness. That I can't bring back. So none of the like,
yeah,
not
so
even like
dead.
a Thor.
So,
a Thor
no,
doesn't
no,
count.
he's no. I'm saying like some people that are dead or written off. Don't bring them back, because obviously if you announce a Chris Evans Captain America movie, that's a big hit. I'm saying people that are on the roster right now. So Thor, I agree with you. That is one. I think Doctor Strange is another.
Doctor Strange is for sure another.
The Hope is Fantastic Four, right? That's the Hope.
That'd
for
be
them.
the Hope. Yeah. Again, Spider-Man's already got.
Yeah, and that counts
that.
as Spider-Man.
Hulk?
Here's a question. Well, they can't make a Hulk movie right now, right? Here's the question I'll ask you: do you think we see with Sam a Captain America sequel?
No.
Okay. Do you think we see a Ant-Man sequel? No. The answer is no. You don't.
No.
Do you think we see a Captain Marvel sequel?
No.
No. So my point is, all these people that I think and Black Panther's a tricky situation because Chadwick would have been like an all-star, like he would have been S tier, right? Mm-hmm. And they've lost him. And I think people, they like Shuri, but it's not the same, right? No. I think that's where I think that a lot of these movies before, when it's like, oh well, we have the Avengers movie, but we got to make sure Iron Man's big, Thor's big, Captain America's big. They didn't have these main characters. Now, I think that you will see Paul Rudd again and you'll see Sam, but I think that they won't even get their solo movies. They'll just, I think from now on, Terry, I think there's a good chance you just get Avengers movies with those characters. So then every time you see those characters, it feels like an all-star game. But I think, again, the whole is greater than some of the parts. I think Disney looks at these characters now, and they're not like Steve Rogers. They're not Tony Stark. They're not Thor, where, they can carry a movie by themselves. I think they look at them as lesser than, and I think some of that's Marvel's fault as far as writing and situations. Mm-hmm. I think that now, because I've seen that before, people, how will they go back to doing, a few movies if they have all these characters? They're just going to truncate it. And I think that's the thing where, if you have 3, like I said, like let's say even it's just the teams. Let's say 2028, you have an Avengers movie, an X-Men movie, and a Fantastic Four movie. You're covered for teams, right? You can do a Thor movie, you can do a Spider-Man movie. Like I think that's the thing where a lot of these characters that maybe didn't deliver the goods for whatever reason on solo ventures will just become a team up, and I think that's probably a smarter route to be successful, right? Because. Mm-hmm. Because, I wouldn't make a sequel to all of those, but I think if you have, like, Captain Marvel, Hulk, Sam, Paul Rudd all in one movie, then I think you have a good chance of being successful, right? So, I'm not sure if you have anything more to add on that. If I can't remember. We kind of went all over, so.
No, I don't have anything else to add.
Espo says they see they have someone who can make them a good received movie if it didn't blow the box office. Yes, which I think is important because they're trying to turn the portion there. Let's see. Senju says, what role will Hugh Jackman Wolverine play in the new era of X-Men? I really don't know. I know many people are in the it's funny. I think as a general audience, they want him to stick around. I think hardcore comic book people are, no, with the MCU X-Men, they should have their own Wolverine. I'm in the camp. I know it sounds weird and morbid, but like if Hugh Jackman is around and he wants to still do it, like passionately, not just for money, like passionately wants to do it, I'm fine with him being Wolverine for the foreseeable future. Because I just also don't think they've done this with Spider-Man. They're doing this with Fantastic Four. They've shown that when the other movies have covered stuff, they don't really do that again. So I know people, I feel like oh, they want to see like the MCU's version of Scott, Jean, and Logan like love triangle. I don't think they would do that. I think they'd be like, no, that's been done a lot. That's been done in the cartoon. Like, let's do our own thing. So where are you, Taylor, on Hugh Jackman sticking around? You rather new Wolverine, or would you be fine him sticking around?
Well, I kind of chuckle because I think that there's still a running joke to be made, and the truth that's involved with it when in Deadpool and Wolverine, they're like, yeah, you're gonna do this till he's 90 or something like that. So I think him sticking around to be Wolverine, it works. We spent a fair bit of time going to different universes and seeing other Wolverines, all being Hugh Jackman, with the exception of the Cavalrine, of course. But no, I think to make him, they could make him young. They could de-age. They could do a couple little things, as long as it's not the Jeff Bridges from Tron Legacy de-age. But I think that I put some stock into what they're capable of.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. And then finally, like I said, this is where you could actually skip about 5 minutes. We won't be too long on because we took longer here. But yeah, earlier this week, they changed. I don't know if it's going to be this way for the title. Even when I look on my Tiki Buying thing, they changed the poster, but I think the movie is still called Thunderbolts. Let me see. It's still called Thunderbolts, but the poster says New Avengers. Taylor, did you think this happened Monday? So luckily you'd seen it before that. Do you think this is a good idea marketing wise? Do you think this is going to work out? Do you think this would make people that didn't see it the week one go into it? Or are you personally offended that they spoiled the movie and stuff like that? Like, what do you think about this? That's what this is. I think they said the official title is still Thunderbolts. And yeah, that's what I thought. Because I saw a lot of people being like, oh, they're going to change it. It's like, you go first, Taylor, and I'll say something after.
I do get bothered at how movies are quick to release things, because for the most part, like, yeah, we doing this podcast, we see a movie usually Thursday night, and then come that weekend by Sunday, Saturday, even a lot of people online have spoiled it, and they're posting actual like clips from the movies on social media, all this kind of stuff. But then, that's just people. You can avoid people. But then when you see on Monday in the morning, the actual official Marvel and Disney pages are sharing videos and like updates and all this kind of stuff. It's like, what is going on? Not everyone in the world is seeing your movies the first weekend. So some of them are waiting to see it like the following weekend or something like that. It's just, it blows my mind. It blows my mind at how bold of a strategy that is. That being said, I like what they were doing, and I liked how Sebastian Stan was doing some guerrilla marketing and just going out and taking fun. It. And that was definitely a lot of fun. And it's funny because I was watching the video of him doing what he was doing, and then you dropped that link in our chat of him doing it. I was like, oh, that's what a coincidence. But yeah, I like that they've done the name change, and I think in retrospect that would actually pull in a lot more people, because I think a lot of people would be like, oh, what, like new Avengers movie? Oh my God, let's go check it out. Let's see what's going on here. So
yeah, for me, like clearly something they had planned, because they had all those posters, all these things ready to go for the week after. It's tough when you get into the whole like, oh, are you rooting for people? Like, I don't know. Hang on one second. Emily, have you seen any spoilers from Thunderbolts? Okay, so she did see that thing. So there you go. I was just wondering if like how many people see this, and like I don't think Emily cares too much about it, but like how many people like one way or another does it really sell them or not? I think it's something that they want to, going into Doomsday, especially Fantastic Four as well, like they want to get those. They already have opening weekends that are big, but they want them to be bigger. I think them dropping that on the Monday is trying to tell people like, hey, if you really don't want to be spoiled, you better get your ass there first thing to watch it, right? So it's almost like snooze, you lose. You got 4 days, too bad, sorry, you know? And I think it will push a little more people, but I don't think it's to the point where it's going to like, oh man, this is going to make it a huge profitable movie. Like, I think if anything, the word of mouth will still help. But clearly, like I said, this was a plan because like they didn't like see the box office numbers on Sunday and then call Stan and be like, hey, Monday morning, you're getting out there and putting posters on the street. To me, what I liked about it is that kind of fit with the movie, right? Because that's how it's like all just sporadically thrown together, that the new Avengers, right? So that's what this felt like marketing wise. Like, oh, let's make it almost like the movie, real world, where okay, yeah, this is Avengers, they're not Thunderbolts, blah blah. But it's like I don't think anybody really believes this, and I think when the actual Avengers movie gets I don't think this is gonna hurt because I've seen people be like, oh man, they're throwing the Avengers title on here, first non-billion-dollar Avengers movie, this and that. It's like, no, I don't think that's the point. Like, I think people will still understand the idea of the real Avengers, and that also it's just like most of the Thunderbolts trailers, they kind of paint them as losers, right? Like I think most people with half a brain, if they're really in the comic book stuff, will kind of get it. Like even when the titles are the new Avengers, there's still an asterisk on it. So I think, and again, that's not what is great about the movie. And the movie's not even about that. That's just like a small addendum. The movie's about all what the characters go through. So will work. I think you got to try because I think they're in the day and age where they're just box office is so tough. You never know what's going to hit, and they just want to make as much money as possible. So would you ask me, would this get more people? Like, I think people, for the most part, had decided if they're going to see it or not. I think most people decide that nowadays with movies in general. I think, sure, there's some that are walking, like with Minecraft. I'm sure some people went to go see it that didn't plan it because it was like kind of a phenomenon. There's some like fun stuff about it, right? Or like Barbenheimer, same thing, right? Like, oh, let's go see them together. But for the most time, I think people see trailers and they know right away if that's at home watch or a theater watch, even without knowing the quality. Like, you have to get like a universal praise made for people to go and be like, okay, I'm really gonna see like a Dune 2, and that had like such a big jump from the first one. So yeah, we'll see. I'm interested to see how the second weekend goes. There's not much tracking out there. I hope it holds well because, like I said, I want a sequel, but I don't know if we're gonna get that if Jake Schreier is doing X-Men. But I hope to see these characters around there. So let's see. I suppose it's training field to see all Marvel movies the first weekend. They drop a clip of the Earth exploding Tuesday after Fantastic Four. Yeah, that'd be something. Well, and that was the thing. I can't remember. During Endgame, I think it was, the Russos in our interview were asked by somebody like, oh, what's the spoiler, like time frame, like when can we start dropping it? And they are like 2 weeks, and everyone kept that. We're not in that age anymore. It's like 2 weeks has turned into 4 days. And that's the thing, like you said, Taylor, like when I got home, like I already saw the end credits were already on Twitter all over for Thunder. So it's like that same thing. It's like that's who. Well, oh, it's bad. This is where, you know what? Another thing where I think it's a good idea, and I'll completely lay on that side, is the chairs stuff, right? With Avengers Doomsday. They did that because a bunch of scoopers were going to find that out first, and you're going to get set photos, real or not. You're going to get people flying there. So it's like, instead of those scoopers getting the moment for themselves, let's do it ourselves. So obviously there's still people that night of post the Thunderbolts end credit scene. There's some big stuff going on in all of them. But then with this, it's like, well, Monday, they know it's going to be out there anyways, right? So when people are like, oh, I can't believe they would spoil this. It's like, eventually people are going to talk about it, Facebook, everything. So it's like, let's just do it. And we can throw it as actual promotion and marketing. So I don't know. We'll see what happens come next weekend and see if it works, see if it didn't. Because if it held well, I know people are going to be like, oh, look, that's the reason. If it doesn't, they're like, oh, look, that's the reason. But I don't think it's that. I think it's the word of mouth, if anything, will be people going back for a second time or telling people to go see it. Because I'm somebody, we just don't have the time right now, but I would see it a second time, because that's how well I liked it. And I think there's other people that would. So,
yeah.
Well, let's take an ad break and we're going to talk about some other stuff. So we'll be right back. And we're back. So let's see. Did I have it in the right spot? I think I did have it in the right spot. Let's talk about this. Supposedly, Ryan Reynolds writing a Deadpool and X-Men team up. No specific things on the era, on the character. So whether that be Fox X-Men or the new MCU X-Men, the idea is that it's just 3 to 4. The article, which that's why it's weird, said that he hasn't pitched the idea to Marvel yet, but if this article's out, he's talked to Marvel about the idea. So I don't know if it's like, I know some people theorize that he's trying to get some good press for the bad press they've gone. I don't know if it's something like he's just trying to get other things in motion, or maybe they were not wanting it, so he's putting it out there, or it is just like it just slipped through the cracks, slipped through the cracks, and it is something they're working on. But obviously, we imagine we're going to see him in like Doomsday or Secret Wars. But how would you feel about this, Taylor, as far as like a Deadpool movie with a few X-Men? Like, is this and the idea is it would be a supporting role, because Ryan also said that I don't think there's going to be an actual Deadpool 4. He says kind of going forward he wants to probably do like what Toby and Andrew do, where he is a supporting character and stuff, but it's never a Deadpool movie. Does that interest you? Does it interest you as far as, is there a route they should go as far as, should it be Fox X-Men again, or is that after Doomsday, or Secret Wars, should you just say goodbye to all multiverse characters for a while and it should be Deadpool with our new X-Men? Like, what are you feeling this? Because this was very random, because I honestly thought we'd not hear anything about a Deadpool related movie for anything until after Secret Wars. I thought, okay, he'll come there, he'll make an appearance, him and he will be together, and then we'll hear some other stuff. But to hear about this now, it feels like kind of weird timing to me, which is that why people theorize that is this maybe his camp putting that out there. Like, yeah, I'm, I know there's some bad press, but I'm working on another Deadpool movie, So what do you think about this?
I think, I mean, another Deadpool movie. He's got the money to back. I mean, it's such a popular franchise, and people would want that for sure. I would say.
$1 billion last movie,
Yeah, $1 billion last movie. So that's a big heavy hitter, and it shows that they're doing something right.
Yeah,
but yeah, like, I don't know. Like, are we? I feel like this touches upon like them doing an X-Men movie and like picking certain characters instead of just doing like an X-Men movie and putting characters into that as the ensemble. Because like, are you just doing a single Deadpool movie? Or are you going to be bringing one of those characters over into it, like a collaboration co-op thing, like we did with Wolverine? Like,
you asking my opinion?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, I thought you were asking rhetorically. Like, I really don't know. Deadpool's such a tricky thing, because to me, with the new X-Men, I don't know if I really want Deadpool around them right now, but I realize that Ryan Reynolds is getting older, and I'm assuming, because how old is he? He's like 46, 47, right? Can you look that for me? Like,
he's late 40s.
I just feel like, does he want to be in a Deadpool suit in his 50s?
48.
He's 48, so that's 2 years. Like, by the time Secret Wars is done, he'll be 50. It's like, does he want to be? And don't get me wrong, there's some fun jokes they can do, like an old man, like Deadpool and stuff. But so maybe that's the idea. I don't know. So, because like, again, like the natural thing is, oh, easy. You just get his Gambit, you get Colossus, you can bring back Domino, and you could do Cable. They didn't do Cable, right? He was nowhere to be seen in Deadpool Wolverine. Like, you could do like a mini X-Force, like. And that does interest me to a point. Don't get me wrong. I've enjoyed all the Deadpool movies. I think I've all given them high ratings. It just like, it feels odd timing, and it would just feel also odd if it's like Secret Wars is the end of the multiverse, and here's your one universe. But then guess what? Deadpool's doing a movie with Channing Tatum's Gambit, because I'm hoping that Channing Tatum's Gambit is not our Gambit. Like when we get to the MCU X-Men, like I don't want him to be going forward. So, and then again, him with the new X-Men feels kind of odd. Like, I'd much rather him be with Spider-Man, or even just do him and Wolverine again doing some sort of thing. I really don't know. Do you have a preference for which way you'd go?
I mean, with Gambit, like,
no, just Deadpool. Like, would you rather him if they say,
Deadpool.
hey, you could do, it's going to be the Legacy X-Men or the new MCU, like let's say it's like Margaret Qualley and Harry Dickinson, like those people. Like, what do you view better?
If I had to pick, I'd say it would be a great, well, I always defer to the Force Awakens kind of scenario here, where they didn't include Luke, because if you included Luke too early on, then it's going to pull the attention away from all the other characters.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think you gotta brace yourself and coax yourself into it slowly. I think if they use Deadpool, everyone's going to be going there for Deadpool, obviously, but you could maybe use Deadpool to kind of bridge the fandom and the viewership into getting to know these new characters. At the end of the day, if it had to be X-Men, then fine, whatever. But if I could pick, I'd prefer it to be another team. Like, man, if you were to have Deadpool and like the Thunderbolts, that'd be freaking hilarious. And I think Deadpool opens up a whole, like, when you've spent so many years with a character like Iron Man, and you think you already know this character inside and out through their tribulations and the movies and everything that we've seen. You throw Deadpool in there, it changes everything, and you get a total different light of this character. So I think that they should hopefully lean away from the X-Men, even though Deadpool is heavily attached to the X-Men. I get that.
That's what he's writing apparently. That's what Reynolds is writing the script right now, is him and other mutants. So
yeah, then maybe what would be a good, if I had to pick one mutant? I don't need. I think a lot of people would want him in Gambit. I don't need him in Gambit. I'd say him and we already got Wolverine, so him and.
And the script though has 3 to 4. That's the thing. Supposedly, it's not just like him and a partner. It's him and multiple people, and that's where it's like I don't know if like, because my idea pitch would be, oh well, it's Deadpool with a bunch of
a Megasonic Teenage Warhead and
Yeah.
Yukio. So there's 3.
Yeah, then that's just Deadpool 4. Like that's just what, and that's my thing. It's like you can't do that. And then for me, I'd go, okay, we'll put him with a bunch of C to D tier listers, but I don't think they'd want that, because then that would just be people waiting to see Deadpool's movie. And obviously we have to wait until we see who our X-Men lineup is. But I imagine like Storm, Scott, and Jean are going to be in there, and I don't really see Deadpool there. And like Detail says, like you have to have Gambit. I agree if it's Tatum's Gambit, but I like if it's not, which I don't want to be. If Channing does not go forward after Secret Wars, I don't want Gambit anywhere near Deadpool, because I don't want Gambit to, like, Gambit's like a comedic character, but he's not a goof, like he's not goofy, I'll say, like Channing Tatum's Gambit is, right? So
Yeah.
that's the thing. But like Detail says, like, oh, definitely Channing. But again, it's like, I thought Secret Wars was supposed to be the end of the multiverse stuff, right? And I don't hate the multiverse like other people. If you look at their biggest movies, Multiverse of Madness, No Way Home, Deadpool and Wolverine, when people say, oh, the multiverse saga really hasn't worked. Yeah, for us, like, well, not even for me, for like you hardcore people, for the general audience, those are the biggest movies of this since Endgame, as people like the multiverse stuff, right? So I'm not opposed to it going away. It just feels like if Secret Wars is to, okay, we're going to condense the timelines and we're going to get F4 together, and that's how we're going to explain the X-Men, it would just feel weird to kind of have like a goodbye maybe to some of these characters and be like, oh, they're right back. Unless there's some world where this comes out before Secret Wars, because maybe Secret Wars gets delayed or something like that. But I don't know.
Think so I think they're past that now.
Yeah, I think so, but they haven't started shooting Secret Wars, right? They're only shooting Doomsday right now.
That's
so
right. Yeah.
There could be a situation where maybe they just go, we want some more time, and I don't know. It kind of feels like to me, if like imagine when James Gunn took over and The Flash made $1 billion, and you're like, well, what do we do, right? Difference is like I love Deadpool, still on round, but it's like Deadpool didn't really fit to come in when he did now. But that's why if you look at that movie, they're complete, other than like the Void and other things, they're completely by themselves, right? It's not Deadpool and Wolverine trying to get in the MCU. They're just dealing with other Fox and Sony properties. It is really not, it could, so maybe something like that where it's just like completely nothing to do with like the main timeline and just something for fun. This is where I would love it if Marvel had like a Black Label or an Elseworlds like film chain where it's like, hey, we're gonna do Deadpool movie with him, some X-Men, has nothing to do with canon, you guys just love Deadpool, he can make jokes about that, good, you know? So I don't know, we will see. The other thing we're gonna see is I forgot to throw it to earlier because we had a lot to talk about, but Taylor, I was told, so I've been told a lot of great deal things since I've been back, right? I've been told they didn't attack me, so that's one. I've been told that you were going to reveal some information of said attacker, but then when I just pulled the video, it was just you getting thrown into a trunk by Pan Solo, which I don't know if that's just you as a double in there. I don't know if it's a setup. I don't know if it is a real Pan Solo, because Pan Solo, there's no real Pan Solo, because it's just a bunch of us always wearing the fucking mask. So I don't know who it is, but it could just still be you. But so you said that now, somehow, luckily you're back. You were only injured for a week, but good for you. What is this proposal? What's going on here? What are we talking about here? If you have this proof, why haven't I seen it? Like I said, I try to avoid seeing you on the real life because, lots of lawsuits pending as usual. But what's this proposal going on here?
So basically, I got a few priorities. The post-attack scenario here, and obviously
that proof back should be one of it. You said you have proof, but
I do have proof.
The proof though.
Supposedly. I do. Pan Solo just totally fucking threw me around, and the camera angles and whatnot. It was not my favorite doctored imaging. I don't know. Just there's more to that footage than what we were led to believe. Now, I may not have the evidence currently. I'm working on it, but I know who did this. It's
It
clear
feels
as
like
day.
such a setup to me. This feels like I'm getting set up here.
So at the end of this month, I think that's when I think all the feelers are telling me end of the month. I think everything will be kind of aligned, stars aligned. So that's when I'm going to basically out them in person.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Person.
but I need to make
So
sure.
is it someone I know? Can I ask that?
Yes,
Wow.
closely affiliated with, I'm sure.
Closely. Are their initials TF?
No,
Okay.
they're not. No, I am vindicated from this for sure. And you'll see this when we oust them, because I want you to join me in taking down this attacker. I got to make sure everyone, my family is safe, take care of priorities, safe, secure, all that kind of jazz before this happens. But yeah, if you're watching, end of the month, your time is up.
So you're telling me what you're gonna do is you're gonna pick a date. You're gonna send your family off away so they're safe, and then you're gonna tell them, "Hey, this date, come to my place, mono a mono." But you want me to be there for that.
That's right.
Okay.
I need you there, because I don't want to be surprised, attacked again, thrown back into a vehicle. Can't have a repeat.
Would hate to be attacked, as someone that's never been attacked by this man by himself. And when I say this man, it's this man right here attacked me many times. I'd like to believe you, but here's where I am of two minds. Where if I'm right and you're just behind this all, I'm just walking into a trap and I get attacked again, and who knows how long I'm gone. And two, if I'm wrong and you do have some sort of proof and this is some individual that's closely affiliated, I'll happily be watching this video, this live stream, this occurrence, but I will not be there. I know people are gonna think that's cowardly because this person, whoever it is, this person attacked me as well. But as I said in my first draft, told you back that I have changed, I've evolved. I just deal directly with the lawyers. I will not physically get into an altercation. I've always had kids, but now I have a lot of them. I got the twins. I got babies. I can't afford to be hurt or injured at any point. I can't begin these fights. So I'll happily, let you deal with your thing. Because then hopefully it is a trap. Then you got no content. But I'm not falling for anything. And Taylor, I'm sorry. I will not. I'll not join you on this adventure. You can sniff out this attacker all you want. But I'm the gun holster is planted over there, and that's in the retired zone. So, but I'll look forward to the end of the month. I wish you best of luck. So, but no trust, a liar. So we'll see. You know what we'll see? Some movies coming up. Trailers. We got trailers for Now You See Me 3. Don't worry, S-Bubs. Didn't forget. Squid Game Season 3. Conjuring Last Rites. 4. How to Train Your Dragon. Honey, Don't. The Long Walk, and The Echo Valley. I'll let you start How to Train Your Dragon because I did not watch this. I kind of forgot, and I also just have nothing at because I'm not going to see it. But you and Kirkland obviously are going to be seeing it early. No review early because there's going to be some birthdays and stuff happening with the Kirkland's lady. But there will be a review in about a month or so. When's that come out? Early June, I think, or late June. Either way, in the next couple of months. How was this trailer?
Yeah, this trailer had a lot of magic to it. It was very exciting, and it's been a while since I've seen that first movie. Obviously, I know that there are some shot for shot.
Some.
I don't know if everything is shot for shot like the same, but there's some that are absolutely spot on in comparison, like just live action compared to animation.
I was going to ask, are you going to watch the anime movie before, or try going blind, watch live action, and then watch the animation after?
After watching this trailer, I did get a hunger. Like, I gotta watch that animated one, but I don't know if I should. We're getting close, and I think I might just hold off. That way, it's a little bit just kind of fresh. The first one, I remember like the first part, but I always kind of forget how like from the middle all the way to the end kind of concludes with this movie. I remember. I think the second one and the third one a little bit better than I do the first one. The first one, yeah, like I just remember the first like quarter of the film the most. Everything else at the back half and the end.
Great recommendation. I remember the quarter first of the film.
But all that being said, like I just remember I feel good about when I watch the movie. It has a good feeling and it's just very entertaining. It's engaging and it's DreamWorks they did good. They did good with that one.
Detail asked if we're reviewing Ballerina. Yeah, we should be. When was I thought there was something coming up when is Ballerina? That's the 5th. I thought there was. Oh, that's the only thing I should be able to, because I got my Logan Soccer's on that day, and if it runs late, so I should be. But if not, there'll be a review because you're doing that, right? And Kirkland's doing that.
What day is that? June 5th.
June 5th, yeah, Thursday Ballerina. So there definitely will be a review. Maybe if something happens where we can't do it that same night, because that week's very busy, because we also got a newscast as usual. We got Predator Killers. We got Summer Games Fest. We got Switch 2. So, yeah, because June 5th is Switch 2, right, as well?
Holy shit, it is.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And then we got an Xbox Direct. So yeah, there will be one detail for sure. It's just a question of will it happen for sure like the Thursday night as usual. That's a TBD. Because even with me and you, same thing with our Switch 2s. They might not be there that exact day. And like we got the whole weekend, right? But yeah, there'll be something. I know it's happening. So what about I'll hit you with these two because they're not the franchise. What do you think of or even all three of these? Honey Don't, Long Walk, and Echo Valley.
Long Walk, I had no idea where we're going with that, and that one just took a nasty dark twist.
Yeah.
The main guy in the
Mark Hamill.
That was Mark Hamill, who's the
old soldier. Like you better start walking. Or
I did not.
Your heart's
getting
that
at all.
Oh my god, yeah, that's Mark Hamill.
When I first saw him, the way he was talking, the way he looked, he reminded me of the guy from Fallen Kingdom, who was like, what does he say? Like I want my bonus, the guy who pulls the teeth out of the dinosaurs.
I do not remember him from Fallen. You remember Fallen Kingdom a lot better than I do, so
I'll pull him up.
I do not remember it. And I think I was right. Yeah, and the other person, this was David Johnson. He played what's his name in Alien Romulus? Who was the android? It was Andy, right? I think it was.
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, he's in this. That got me very excited. I've never read the Stephen King novel. I haven't read a lot of the news stuff, but yeah, this was interesting. This for me is really gonna be curious on the runtime because I feel like this movie can't I feel like this movie has to be an hour and a half, right? Unless there's something that happens after the walk, like let's say the walk ends and then there's like an action thing or some kind of like how Hunger Games was about the game, but ended up always being something more. And I think they were smart to say from the director of all these Hunger Games movies, and it's a bunch of young people in a competition that ends with death. Like, I feel like you're hitting people in that fan base of like, hey, do you like kids competing in a game that get them killed? That's what this is, right? Like very different, the Hunger Games and the Long Walk, but it's the same idea, right? As far as young kids in the middle of a game that ends in their death. So, yeah, for me, I'll definitely see this because I'm curious. I like seeing Mark Hamill in this kind of more villainous role, and David Johnson I'm becoming a big fan of. Not sure if I'll see it in the theaters, but I'll definitely be watched at some point before the year end there. So, did you get your answer there?
Yes, I can't remember his exact name. Oh, Wheatley. Do you remember Wheatley?
No.
You don't remember Wheatley? Okay.
I remember like a few of the action set pieces, and I remember the fucking old guy gets suffocated with that pillow. Okay, let's see here.
Mills, where are you? I want my bonus. There, skip ahead.
Yeah, just skip ahead here.
He looks like him though.
Oh, is that is the actor's name Ted Levine?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the guy who plays Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs. You know?
Oh,
would you fuck me? I'd fuck me.
Fuck! I thought that was in the scene. I was like, "What the fuck?"
Would you fuck me? I'd fuck me. Cody Rhodes vodka. What are you referring to? What am I missing here? But so you gonna be checking out Long Walk then at some point?
I would like to.
Yeah.
Yes, I would like to.
What about Echo Valley? Just on Disney Plus, or sorry, Apple Plus.
Disney Plus.
Julianne Moore, Sydney Sweeney, Domo Gleason.
Moore is fantastic, but I got kind of bored watching this trailer. I'm not really sure.
That's a no from Taylor.
It wasn't really pulling me in. So I'm gonna drop a no on that.
I was excited because at first I was worried, and I don't think that's the case. I thought they were making it look like Sydney Sweeney was playing like a high schooler, but I don't think she is. But I was like, once you did like Anyone But You, like you can't be the high school. Like, don't get me wrong, Sydney Sweeney's still super young, gorgeous woman. Like not saying oh she looks old now. I'm just saying like
27.
yeah, like I'm just saying like there's a time where it's like, yeah, okay, get away from that stuff. So I was just at the beginning though, she had like a big hoodie and stuff. Always like Julianne Moore. I did not know Domhnall Gleeson was in this. I'm a huge Domhnall Gleeson fan, and he's playing like a shade, like maybe the like an antagonist in this. So I was excited. And then Kyle MacLachlan is also in this. I think he's the dad. So I'm all in. I agree with you that for me this is purely just I like seemingly the four main characters in this are actors I really like, so I'll be there. It's Apple Plus, which my mom has, so I have. So I will watch that. Let's see, and then what was the other one? Honey Don't. What did you think about this one?
Honey, don't. This one has a certain kind of it has an allure to it. It definitely kind of was pulling me in. I'm curious. I'm curious to see how this is gonna go. This story and oh God, why am I drawing a blank? Who was opposite? No, who was opposite?
Chris
of her?
Evans.
Yeah,
Aubrey Plaza.
Chris Evans just playing in this churchly kind of setting, and there's a little bit of other mischievous things kind of ongoing in the background. I really think this is going to be a lot of fun. It looks like it's kind of a comedic, not suspense, but comedic action drama kind of role. And I don't know. I'm excited for it. This is going to be one that I'm definitely going to watch.
Wow, definitely. You should watch in the same vein because a lot of people didn't like it as much as I did. Driveway Dolls. That's what he did last time. It's also Margot Qualley, where she's still playing a lesbian. But what happens with this is the Coen brothers, but this is Ethan Coen. The Coen brothers split up, and he did Driveway Dolls, and now with this, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, I really wish the brothers would get back together." I liked Driveway Dolls a lot more than other people. What are you?
They did the Brothers Grimsby. Is this fucking for real?
Brother Grimsby. Is that the one with Sacha Baron Cohen?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Why is it listed in here? Why is it listed in here?
Ethan Cohen. I don't think he did the Brother Grimsby.
Because what did he did? No Country for Old Men.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's listed here. Driveway Dolls is here, and then it throws Grimsby in here. Did they do True Grit?
Yeah, he's not director. He's not. No, that has to be wrong. Maybe he's a producer on there, but I don't.
I'm gonna share my screen because
Okay.
I find this
believe me,
very confusing.
I don't think so. There.
What is this?
But why did you just search Grimsby?
No, I didn't because I put I spelled the name wrong. I did
That's
Cohen.
Sacha Baron Cohen. That's
Oh fuck.
that's why you put Cohen and brothers where Grimsby they are brothers. No, the Cohen
There
brothers
we
have
go.
nothing to do
There's
with
an
that.
accurate list. I was gonna say that's a weird fucking turn.
And there's part of me that thinks a lot of people did not like Driveway Dolls because they've just made like epic, fantastic movies. And when Driveway Dolls not, they're like, man, he's shit. I still enjoyed it. I think I will enjoy this. I'll like Chris Evans in this type of, shit heel priest character. I think Aubrey Plaza and Margaret Qualley can have a great sex scene, I can tell already. And Margaret Qualley's just like, I can watch her do anything. Not just because she's a good looking broad, just like, she's just uber talented, especially the comedic stuff. I think she's really good at as well too. So I'll be watching this and I'll probably like it like I did with Driveway Dolls. I'm not saying it's up their work. No Country for Old Men's a top 10 movie for me. I fucking love that movie to death. It's nowhere near in that stratosphere. I get that, but I guess I just wasn't expect that, maybe because the Coens hadn't had any of those in a while. So I'll give you the floor for you right now. Now You See. Actually, you know what? I'll go. I did watch Now You See Me 3. I did because Espo's wants to talk about it. I've never seen one of these movies. I can't remember who said it in the Discord about them giving away the whole movie. Absolutely. This trailer just shows all the beats. Yeah, lots of good cast in here. Like, yeah, Rosamund Pike did anything in there. That girl Greenblatt's in there. I really like... I can't remember his name, but he is from The Holdovers. I fucking love The Holdovers, and he looks like he's the new like Jesse Eisenberg character. I don't think I was ever in. It looked like I was like, okay, I like this train enough. I think when they lost me, and they're like, maybe the other two are like this as well, but then when they're like, oh, 8 magicians versus a criminal organization, what could go wrong? Or isn't that like something like that? I was like, okay, I'm out. Because S-Pubs had said that last week, where it's like, oh, it's like Fast and Furious. Where that's like not a great thing for me. Fast and Furious to me is like the only one that could do that. And even them after 6, Fast and Furious went too Fast and Furious. And they're just over the top to the point that I can't even enjoy them anymore. And that's why I don't think we've gotten another one, because they were gonna, that movie ended on a fucking cliffhanger, and we've not seen that at all. So yeah, this didn't convince me to watch it. I said I might watch it because I think Emily likes them, and she's like, I think she's like, oh, I thought we watched those once. I was like, I guess I must have fell asleep. So I might give them a chance, but nothing that made me like, gotta see this, other than great cast. But you said you're a big fan of these. That's why we saved this for when you were on.
Yeah, I really liked the second one a lot more than the first one.
All
There's
right,
one.
so moving on to the next one. No.
There's one sequence in that movie that's really really fantastic. I love the cinematography, and I like how they're doing their tricks and everything like that. It's funny because it gets to a point where I've seen some crazy magician performances, and how they're doing some of this shit, I do not know. It is some crazy shit. But the stuff that they do in the movies, it's like god tier level. It's stuff that you can't do in person. It's just shit that's like, it's god tier. And the only way you can do it is if you're filming a movie and you're acting and you have like special effects and CGI and stuff. It's completely Hollywoodized, which is totally fine because it makes for a very engaging and entertaining time, which is the reason why we got such a fantastic sequence in Now You See Me Too. The first one and the second one were just aimed at taking down this main bad guy and getting in good with the eye. But now here we are with this one, and this one just seems like they're going at it alone, and they're trying to, I mean, you guys said it, the trailer literally shows everything, but they're going at it, and they team up again later on, and they're just trying to make money and steal from the rich, kind of a thing. It just seems more like it's an anthology than really a third part to what's going on. And maybe that's something that's hidden from the trailer, how it'll connect into the main narrative that is established in part 1 and part 2. I don't know. Feels like an anthology film more than a third movie. It's just a film that's taking place in this universe with these characters, and it just feels like, okay, they just kind of shoehorn in a bunch more characters. But Justice Smith, I mean, I'm there for Justice Smith, always Justice Smith. That kid he's fantastic. And shout outs to Kirkland, Dungeons and Dragons, our favorite scene where he's like, fresh cut grass, you smell that? Great actor.
That's your favorite scene, eh?
That's one of our favorites, yeah.
Oh, one of. See, he changed it, I know. I still think either the graveyard one is the best, or when Chris Pine's playing the instrument, his fucking face pops off.
They're all so good.
Yeah, that's the thing I liked him in the most, but we'll see from there. Squid Game 3. Didn't give us much. They're playing coy. This is in June. I'm not sure. Maybe there's a chance me and Taylor could review this, because we've never reviewed Squid Game. It's the ending, so maybe we should here. This definitely didn't give me much. Seems like they're holding cards to their chest or to their vest, whichever one, both. My two things about this trailer, though, was one, I was kind of disappointed. God, what's the main character's name again in this?
Holy shit.
Yeah, I can't remember. But anyways, so when it ended the way it ended last season, this is season 3, right?
This is season 3.
Okay, yeah, okay. I forgot the way they were doing it, but when season 2 ended, I was very curious which route this character was going, and then the fact that this trailer opens up with, well, they just put him back in the games. It's like, oh, all right. I'm kind of hoping there's like an episode before we get there, because that's like the least interesting thing, especially with like who was with them in those games, what they're doing, like all this really cool stuff. I know we'll get there, but I just thought to put them back in the games, I was like, okay, that's a little lackluster. We'll see. Like I feel like you could still have him have his story and the games go on, because we're invested in characters that are in the games, but maybe they don't feel that way. And then obviously there's that thing you hear at the end. I think introducing a baby to this dynamic is going to be very awful in a good sense for the show. I think it's going to get very fucked up. Don't know what's going to happen there. I don't know how that counts. That's just like, and we all know it was going that route when they introduced a pregnant player, but I wasn't sure, like, okay, like, I guess I didn't know 100% it was going that route, but we thought it was a very good possibility. And now that seems like that's happening. Yeah. That's going to be some tough watch, but yeah, this didn't, raised my excitement just because the trailer was, it felt like just like an announcement trailer, but it also didn't like lower it. Just same where it is. Very excited to see how the story ends and then see if they butchered in the American version. So
Yeah, I remember watching Squid Game season 1, and I ended up finishing it in within 24-hour span. It was super super quick. Season 2, just the same thing. I tried to space it out because I was really enjoying it, and it's just I really enjoy the show. So this, yeah, I'm kind of surprised that they showed that they just threw him back into the game, although that is kind of torture and hell. And to see the dynamic of having a baby in there is that's crazy. We got some more shots of seeing all of the what are they called? Not the investors. They're the
I couldn't
shot
name the main
callers,
character for
the
you,
rich
dude.
people with the masks, the animals on them. I can't remember what they're called, but we got to see like a whole bunch more of them. It looked like there was a room of like 10 of them all together. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen here. And yeah, just obviously we know that Boatman is kind of steering the whole like army, that not the actual army, but this like hired soldiers that were working for our main character. They're trying to find the island and get there. So we're gonna get an interesting climatic finale here. I can't wait. I just see all these guys like show up on the island and like take them down and rescue our main character and all that kind of stuff. There's gonna be some interesting things, and I'm thinking I don't think we're going to get to the final game. I think it's going to come down to the last.
Mm.
Well, maybe we'll get to the final game. I don't know. I just feel like we're going to have a few people still alive when the attack happens, not just two.
Yeah, I really don't know because I the way how they ended last season, I didn't think we were gonna go that route for sure. But like up to that point, but
Mhm.
yeah, no, I think they've done a good job of keeping us on our toes. So I'm very excited for that. Let's see, is there anything else there? Conjuring Last Rites. Obviously, this is coming to an end. The tagline I just fucking love when they're like, "There's a reason this was their last one," and like I get it. It's movies and everything like that, but I just remember the first one felt like they're trying their best way to like kind of use it a heightened sense of reality where maybe some of the stuff happened, you know, they claim it did. But I think even the Warrens were like, well, that was like the worst one like we ever had. Where now it's like apparently Warren just had multiple events that they're just fucking fighting the demon at every turn. But yeah, I should look up who's directing this one. I thought it was somebody that was directed another one that I enjoyed. So, yeah, the first one to me is one of the greatest horror movies of all time. I think it's a fantastic like haunted house possession movie. Number two was not the biggest fan of. Three I need to rewatch because I know we reviewed that in COVID times, but I remember enjoying it. But just I think there's some things that it felt. I remember the CGI being a big issue for us, where it just kind of took me out of it. So it just felt like it was not as gritty as that first one. So I don't think you can recapture that because you know James Wan is a master. Yes, this guy did the Curse of La Llorona and the Nun
Mm.
2. So and I liked those ones. Those were Billy. Oh, fuck, those were better. I saw he did a Billie Eilish music video, so that's my brain was reading it, and then my mouth spat it out. So I liked those two. Those two were better than you know, some of the. Oh, and he did do Conjuring 3. Okay, he also did The Devil Made Me Do It. So now I'm like a little less uh, excited. So yeah, I'm expecting this to be fun. I guess. Like I guess. Unfortunately for me, like I guess I can just expect it to be the second best, but I don't know. And this trailer was good enough. I liked the designs though of these demons and stuff. Like they had like a almost like Bagul type of oil black stuff around their faces, and they had smiles, but it wasn't like smile like that horror movie. So, yeah, I can't say I'm like any more excited. I will be there just because I love that first one, and honestly too, I do love Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson. I think they're great in the roles. They're always fun. I think they were smart, kind of showing all the things again, trying to tie together. And like I said, this is not to me what's probably happened in real life, but to say goodbye to these characters that started a huge, you know, cinematic universe for the horror franchise. I'll see them out, and this one I'll probably see in theaters, barring. Well, actually, I don't know if I will for because I think that's one where. I think you got a trip or something like that. Yeah, you're gone. So I don't know if I'll wait for reviews. If reviews are good, then I'll go see it. If not, then I'll probably just skip. Like we won't do a review, and I'll just talk about that on like a what we've been watching or after nine or something like that. So, what do you think about this trailer?
Oh, well, I just clicked the dots here, but I'll talk about how I feel about the trailer first before I deep dive.
Click the
Um,
dots.
the trailer itself, I liked it a lot more, and it has me more excited than how I felt for The Conjuring: The Devil Made Me Do It. I think that some of the visuals in this trailer, CGI, of course, could be a little bit more refined, but I think it definitely has a little bit back to basics kind of viewpoint. And when I say back to basics, I don't mean back to how they're kind of like scare you, but back to basics, like familiarity and what we're kind of well
Yeah,
versed and familiar with in this universe. And I like that. I think that they were trying some new things that I can really appreciate, like with the way that baby doll was crawling and then it stops and rolls over and it like exorcists back up onto itself and like starts floating. And when you just see like the demon thing holding it, that's freaky.
that was good. Yeah,
There's
that
a
reminded me of. They even used a sound effect, but when Lorraine did that, like the music box on the first one, and something would
mhm.
like pop up, it reminded me of that.
So they're capitalizing on a few of those notes, and I like that. I really do. I'm a big fan of the Annabelle movies. I think that first one is Rocky. Annabelle create the creation is fan fucking tastic. That is such a good horror movie. It's so freaky, and then Annabelle comes home. It's not as good as Creation. Creation is fucking terrifying, but Annabelle comes home. They do a lot of different things, and it's just like it's a heck of a sandbox when they're tackling everything in the room of the Warrens' house, and I really really do like that. So it's definitely up there. And yeah, the Nun 2 was a massive improvement over the first Nun movie. Some of the things they did in that sequel, I can't believe they actually did it. It felt like there was nothing holding back this demon. It was terrifying. But uh, all of these cases that have been focused on with the Warrens, like this universe, like that first Conjuring movie, that's definitely just it's really 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 good. They did that first movie so well. The second one, I do like the second one, but it's more or less because that was my first date movie night with my now wife, so some nostalgia there. But yeah, the third one was just kind of like not hitting all the boxes. This one, when I say I connected the dots, I realized that it's based on the Smurl haunting. The Smurl haunting is something that actually I tackled in Cryptid Clues back in March. I did a whole episode on it, and it was there was the Warrens played a part in it. I believe the Warrens actually co-authored a book with one of the people that lived in the home or affected by the demonic activity. But basically, in short, there's a family, and I'm gonna have to revisit my notes because I don't remember a lot of what I had researched, but it seems like the Smurl haunting was this family that moved into this home and they were tormented by demonic activity for over 10 years, and they were dealing with
Guess what?
demonologists
After
that would
year one, you move out. You
yeah,
leave.
well, demonologists would come in and would try to like not antagonize but instigate and like try to get things like to happen, and things just got worse. The press made a huge scene about it to the point where it was just kind of looked at as like hoax and whatnot. But there were moments where I guess like their dog was being thrown around in the air, smashed against the walls in this home. Like
Jesus.
the family members being pushed downstairs. Like tons of really really nasty things that were happening, and some very nasty physical things that happened too. And so it sounds like hell from what I had looked into. And
It
when you watch
does.
this trailer, you can see, okay, obviously there's this family that is in this home and there's some very terrible things going on. But it's Hollywood, and Hollywood is making this out to be much more bigger than what this case really, really was. And I hope that people can look at these movies and take that with a grain of salt and understand that it is, uh, I don't want to say exaggerated, but
I think
Hollywoodized.
it's exaggerated. Some of the
Yeah, maybe
stuff,
that is the
like
right word. Like then the demon possessing that girl sitting in the bathroom saying, "We've been so patient waiting for you." Da, 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 da. It's like I wasn't there, so I don't have an actual opinion, but dare I say I think that is not what happened in the original story.
yeah, because that's the
So,
thing is because the Warrens are our main characters. I feel like they are always getting them involved in these situations, right? That are
mhm.
like that. Okay, the Warrens are involved in these situations. Don't get me wrong, but they put it on them of being the main characters, right? Like I don't know how the like you might know better than me. Like in the first movie when there's like the witch, what was her name? Fucking God, what is it
Oh,
Behelga or not
Bathsheba.
Beowulf, Bathsheba?
Beowulf.
When they go through, like, there's that moment where Bathsheba like goes to their home. It's like I don't know. Have they ever said that happened, or is that just something in the movie where it's like because it's like sitting there with Annabelle, all this stuff, like oh yeah, no one touched it all. I don't know. It is stuff. I do think some of the stuff's exaggerated. Same thing like all these movies are like oh based on this case study. Yeah, yeah. Was the Nun ever like? Has that ever been said that was based on a true story? The Nun. I feel like that's like another one that's a step far out. That's like this feels very movieized, but yeah. And
It's
okay.
not directly based on a single documented true
Yes.
event.
So and I'm
But
not okay. Yeah.
sorry, it looks like there are notes that the Warrens did encounter a spectral nun during some of their investigations of a British abbey in the 1970s, which
Jesus
is looked at
Christ.
as the influence of this.
Okay. I will say, and that's where it is, the influence, right? I'm not saying some of the stuff didn't happen. It's tough for me on this situation about what to believe. That's a whole bread and butter. You got cryptic clues, listen that, but that's a whole bread and butter for Geekverse. It's like it's tough, right? Because I'm somebody that I'm not a full on like, yeah, there's heaven and hell, but I'm not totally opposed to there being spirits. It's like where it's like, okay, well, if you believe in spirits, how do you not believe in that? So that's why I always say I'm agnostic, because like I'm open to many things. One, there's like multiple photos of the family. They're just kind of hanging out. But anytime you got family photos back then, they're just like black and white. Just makes it look 10 times scarier. But two, not that you have time to watch this, but I guess in 1991, they made a TV movie called The Haunted. It's when the Smurl family moves in the duplex, they find out it's haunted. That's where I laughed. Or like, what a synopsis. But they have people playing like Ed and Lorraine Warren and everything like that. So, yeah, I guess this has been talked about before. So, but yes, I'll watch it, give it a go, and see from there. So, all right, let's move into our second part of the episode for the main feed. I'm Travis. That's Taylor. You know what we're doing here. Back to the MCU, Kevin Feige. So I'm going to read off some stuff that's came out on Friday. So I'm going to just rattle them off. And if there's anything you want to stop me on, Taylor, stop me. And if not, same thing, I'm going to have some points. Let me bring it up. So to clarify, these are just reports from sources. Obviously, Wall Street Journal is a bit more of a higher profile. So there's a higher tier. So it's more, it's probably not just weird scuttlebutt. It's stuff that's probably actually been heard or talked about and stuff. But so I'm gonna go point by point. And like I said, if there's anything you want me to stop me, Taylor, go ahead. But this came out last week. I think the headline was like, at one point Hollywood wanted more Marvel, but now wants less or something like that. But so here we go. Kevin Feige, and this is all paraphrased, by the way. In the Wall Street article, they have it like all nice written in source, stuff like that. This is just the bullet points because for that article, you have to pay for it. And I'm not paying for Wall Street Journal. Sorry, it's not what I'm doing there. But Kevin Feige really didn't want to make Disney Plus shows. He agreed to it because he could see the story potential, but mostly because he wanted to play ball with Iger, Chapek, and Wall Street investors, which and all this stuff we'll talk about is so much just like a lot of it is just that makes sense, or a lot of it's like stuff we've talked about before, where I will say that I did think I agreed with them at that point. It was a good idea. Like if you're starting a streaming service, you're going to need shows, right? So it was a good idea for Star Wars to put shows on there, Disney. What's another brand? Obviously they have like Pixar and Disney, they tried and stuff. There's other points I don't know when I want to save or whatnot, but I could see why he maybe was opposed to it because they hadn't done TV. But now I think it's one of these things that, yeah, I just don't know where to bring this point up because we have a. I might come. I'll bring up a point after, but yeah. Any thoughts on that, Taylor?
I think the idea of putting out these shows, I think at the start it was welcomed. It was awesome. And then I think things kind of got a little oversaturated and a little convoluted. And the whole idea too of trying to keep up and understand that, okay, we're made to believe that you can watch these movies without needing to watch the shows. But
Which
that
is not true for not all of them.
no, not
Yeah.
true. Holy
Yeah.
shit. They fucked that up. And they've ruined it because like, you have an instance where if you watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier, then you're going to be getting a scenario where you have a character go through all of these tribulations and make several advancements in their development to only get to a main movie. And now you're someone who's watching all this, you're a big fan. You get to the main movie and you have to be dissatisfied by seeing that same character regress and make the same improvements that they did in the TV show, when they shouldn't be doing this because they've already conquered this part of their moral dilemma. They should be even further ahead. So that, I feel like they retroactively take two steps back by doing some of these things with these main characters in the shows, and it's damaging.
Yeah, and I guess I'll say it here because it's going to tie. Because later on we're talking about the Vision thing, and there was a scooper that said it's the last time you're going to see a movie character. So we might rinse and repeat a little things here, but that's what I was going to say. You bring up Sam, and I think there's some things I agree with you on. There's some things I disagree, but I do agree on the points. But like for me, the biggest one is Wanda. Like if you watch Avengers Endgame and you've seen her journey up to then, let's say you don't watch WandaVision, then you go watch Doctor Strange. Where did she have children? You know, where was she having this marriage division, everything like that? And don't get me wrong, I remember when they announced all this stuff, and it's like, oh, they're doing What If, and they're doing Moon Knight and She-Hulk, because that's what I was excited for. Was the care. I think there was two things, right? I was excited for characters that could never get a movie. They could be on Disney Plus, which I still should be the case. But this is where I always have no problem admitting I'm wrong. I remember when we were watching Loki and they introduced Kang there, right? And I thought, man, that's a great idea. The reason I thought it was a great idea is because you're introducing your next big bad, the villain of your whole saga, on a Disney Plus show. And now, in retrospect, that sounds funny, but to me back then, I thought, oh, this is a great way to get people to actually go and watch it because, man, that's how they set it up. Or same thing with Wanda, that's how they set up. Or with Sam, that's how he got set up with the whole suit and everything. But I think we found out that for the most part, it's a little bit different. Like WandaVision, Loki were still big hits, but I think we found for the most part that the MCU audience was very much a movie audience. Like the general audience was very much a movie audience. I don't think they were wanting two TV shows. And it's the same way, like, this is a quick thing. SBubs will understand this, Dave will understand this, but for wrestling, there's a company called AEW. They're a newer company. They've been around for 5 years. And at one point, they just did one show a week, and it was fantastic, but they did, great ratings, and that the company won more shows, so they did that. But that was the problem, that they do 3 shows and then towns would get spread out, so you wouldn't know which town's gonna be on which show. And that's what happened, where and when I watched WWE, that was like, you get 4 to 5 shows a week, and it's like all right, but I wasn't looking for that. I was happy with, okay, every Wednesday I knew I tuned into AEW Dynamite and I had seen every episode. And then once they went to 3 shows, there's many times where I've not seen all the shows that week, or I've missed a match, or I just hear what people say is great and then go watch it later. And that's with wrestling. And that's like to a bigger extent, but with general audience who sometimes only picks a few things to watch. At first, I thought it was a good idea doing those big story points and shows. But now, after the fact that we've seen everything, even with the Marvels, right? They showed off Brie Larson team with Amon and Tiana Paris, what's her name, like Spectrum from WandaVision. People didn't know who the fuck they were, really, or not enough of them did. So at first, that's where I can completely make, because you'll hear me on those reviews like, man, this is a huge deal, because that's what I thought. You got to make these shows feel important. And they definitely did. And I think it's also a combination of a lot of the shows end up the quality not being the greatest, so that hurt them. When I think the MCU, I know tons of people go like, oh, the MCU it was never really gone. And why are people saying it's back? It's always been here. And there's great stuff in all these phases. For me personally, and I think probably the same thing for you, and maybe I think I can speak for Dylan and Kirkland. I guess maybe Dylan, I'd have to ask, because I know he was not a fan of Incredible Hulk, but there wasn't stuff we were failing the MCU until after Endgame, right? Like, that's the difference to me, where I was fine with the Infinity Saga having a project that's like a 6 out of 10 or 6.5, because it's fine. It's still pass, and there's other great stuff coming, where we got stuff like Secret Wars, or not, no, sorry, Secret Invasion, or Eternals, or Black Widow, I think is lesser. Ant-Man Quantumania, like, for me, there's stuff in there that was not as great. So, I think overall, I think I'm like, the point of where it's saying with Feige seeing the opportunity, that's where I was, but it just didn't work out. And even if the quality was there, maybe too much was too important. It wasn't just Daredevil. Marvel Studios as a whole underwent a huge creative overhaul, having dealt with too many flops. Thunderbolts was the first movie made post-Overhaul. Marvel has grown increasingly anxious about their quality, which is why it keeps delaying Blade, which to me makes sense. I don't know if we're ever really going to get Blade, right? We'll see what happens. It's a running joke. But at the same point, I do believe that, and I hope that, as far as like, if you make people wait this super long time, it's got to be, I think, good or great. And that's where, to me, uh, I'm fine with all these delays as long as we get it eventually. The reason why I've still never said it's a fake, because, me, Chris, and Brent, and now David, we've talked about this before, like fake movie, right? Because I had always said about War Machines, this isn't happening. Yeah, it was War Machine, right? Yeah, the movie was just Armor Wars. That's what it was called. This movie isn't happening. My reason for that was not because Blade, of course, was getting delayed, right? But my reason for Armor Wars is what we talked about last episode, where they're going to go with their heavy hitters. Armor Wars is not a heavy hitter. I think Blade is not a heavy hitter as far as like the S tier, but I think it could be A tier, especially with Ali. I think that character holds a lot of weight. So that's why I still never ready to say that's a dead movie, because there's tons of potential with the Blade. And that's why, sure, it'll always be kind of memed upon, but if they get it right, then it doesn't really matter. So, and there was another thing too. Where was the quote here from Bob Iger? If I can find it, I saved it somewhere. Oh man, I don't think I have it anymore. But I pretty much just said something like, "Oh, Thunderbolts is the example of like the quality over quantity," and he even said focusing on film. But anything on that one, Taylor, or moving on?
Um, I think it's very interesting the fact that they they were doing all of these different projects, and when they finally got things together and they were cleaning up their act, Thunderbolts is the one that was post after that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's funny how reading the article, you have people that are trying to track down Feige in the halls, like trap him, gets in an elevator, and they like close the doors. It's like, I got you, Feige.
That's the next thing. I can read this off because you're talking about it. The overall came as a result of Kevin Feige being completely exhausted by Phase 4 and early Phase 5, which we kind of figured out because there's just like too much going on. There would be times where production teams wouldn't hear from Feige for weeks to months on end. By the time he had to give those teams feedback, it was too late to implement. There were instances where creatives had to literally ambush Feige and Marvel Studios half in the hallway for any kind. That's how bad the situation had got.
That is not a healthy work environment.
No.
And like Disney's golden goose right now is Kevin Feige. And I take great comfort now in knowing that the slump that we hit with these projects it wasn't that he was trying. He was definitely trying, but he was exhausted. There were too many things going on, too much like side narratives, and that it shows. These decisions by these suits in office boardrooms up high, their decisions are what put Marvel into this predicament right now with these narratives that aren't adding up in these post-credit scenes that are just going to be left uncontinued and so forth.
Yes and no, because like I think they got a little. I'm of two minds. Not that I want to defend the studios, but one, Feige team, they should have played it safe by just doing mostly end credits that tease the next project, right? They got to add a hand of teasing, Harry Styles and Hercules. Like they teased way too much. They should have been like for every 4 projects. But you got to admit too, where one, Endgame happens. Marvel, obviously Avatar retook its record, but biggest movie of all time. That record had been broken for a while. They're on top. And remember, COVID happened. So that's where, like, I always would wonder, the strikes too, but I would always wonder what would have happened with Marvel if COVID never happened, because the streaming services became such a big thing, right? So you got to see from their perspective of, we're back in 2020. No one can go to theaters. We can't make any money that way. And that's where the studios, I think rightly, were like, you have to make a bunch of streaming content because that could be right. Because that, again, let's say that happens in knock on wood here. I got it. 5 years from now, another pandemic or something happens. We can't go to the movie theaters, right? So that's when the streaming service again would be massive. And that's where I do understand the studio's point of view during COVID of, we need money and we need, there is a demand and we have the supply. So I do get that. I think it's probably the problem was once it caught up to doing the movies and the TV shows all at the same time, there was too much of it. And like you said, not a good work environment. This is the other point too, that Marvel had reshoots because Feige was MIA for the vast majority of filming. The biggest obstacle they faced was how to make the film cohesive without being caught up with all their Disney Plus shows, which again, that's tough because we've seen that before with like Secret Invasion of the Marvels and with even like Falcon, not so much. Like that stayed true, but even Doctor Strange, and I think there was a situation where think Sam Raimi said like he had never seen WandaVision. He had like been told what happened. He's like, great. And then they moved along and just went what happened. And Super Mike says, I bet James Gunn never had to ambush Feige to get his approval for anything on Volume 3. Yes or no? Because there's, I don't think he had to, but there's reports that either there's reports or I think Gunn has mentioned this
Took
that
him
every
hostage.
no, but every time they were editing the Guardians movies, Feige was always right there, like he was over his shoulder, not in a bad way, but like Feige was probably where now
Didn't trust
again.
them.
No, I think it's just that he wanted to see what product was going on. Where these reports were Foggy literally couldn't, right? Doesn't matter how many people you get, you can't. And not this is not to the same extent for us, but it's like that's why we brought back Weekly Geek, because then it's like we still like to do the 4-person cast, but it's like when we're doing reviews and side quests and bonus stuff and Patreon content, it's like that's why Weekly Geek is like, okay, sometimes some of us, we just need time off or just to be free or just whatever, and that's where it's nice. Okay, we can still cover the news but not break our backs, but also we do lots of episodes, so that's but like we're in a much different situation. We're not a multi-billion trillion dollar corporation like with Feige. It's just he is only one guy, right? And that's where I think they are smart to scale back the amount of content they're doing again,
With that rumor about Feige just kind of like monitoring how Guardians was going and just letting James Gunn do his thing, I think. Well,
No, he
keeping
wasn't
a
letting
hand,
James Gunn do his thing. He was in the room editing. Like he was like he's letting James Gunn do his thing, but like when it came to the final edit,
but he still was there and he was still
yeah,
attached
oh
to it
yeah,
closely.
absolutely,
Yeah, so
yeah.
I think with that, in comparison to everything that we've seen so far, I just think that, yeah, again, we know Feige is the golden goose, and I think that at the end of the day, he it goes to show that him not being attached to these projects in the past is definitely hurting that franchise overall, and it's he needs to be closely attached to these stories moving forward, because everything after, not everything, most of the things after Endgame are definitely murky, but right now I feel confident and happy knowing that he's probably super like attached to the hip to Fantastic Four and probably has been for a while, and they're going to be like overseeing that. So I have a lot of stock in Fantastic Four being just absolutely kick ass. And again, that's why I'm super excited too with how Thunderbolts concluded, because I feel like okay, he was mentally there and available for Thunderbolts, and that shows when you stack it again with like the director and the writing team behind that as well. Lots of talent, and so where we're at now at the back half of this phase, getting into Avengers, and we have Feige back in that mental headspace, doing what he's doing best, then I feel really, really confident that even though they had a little bit of a blunder with Kang, that we're going to get something, with Doom here that's going to be cohesive and pretty awesome. And I trust Feige. I just hope that, I hope that they, before he retires, they tell the stories that they want to tell, because I think the moment he steps down or he retires or anything like that, then they got to look at winding the MCU down. They're not going to be able to keep it going forever.
No, they'll keep it going. I don't know the quality of it. Hopefully, it's someone that's in control, but we'll talk about that as far as like the next 10 years. But I think if it's making money, someone will still have it. This was kind of a carry on that, but Miss Marvel in particular was a failure that hit Marvel Studios' hard morale, because it was a show that everyone, including Feige, was extremely proud of. 2023 was the first year in Marvel Studios history where they actually fired employees, which of course that's just that sucks. The Miss Marvel thing I can completely get, because I think we're one of the few, like, as far as Marvel fans goes, like our podcast, like none of us hate the show, but I think all of us like enjoyed it enough. But like for me, it was disappointing. Like I'll never watch it again. I see some points why people love it, but I think it is overhyped by people. But still, tons of people did love it. But that was its lowest rated show, and people didn't really end up caring about it. And that's the thing where I think it is a combination of like too much going on, but then there is still a thing of everyone uses Guardians as an example of like, well, no one know who they were. Yeah, that's true. But sometimes that could also just be the exception of the rule, right? And not the rule where, well, because Marvel Studios is great, they can make any unknown property $1 billion or like, well, no, it's like, no, that doesn't always happen. And that was in a time where Marvel was much higher up, right? So, but I could see that as our show that was like critically loved and everything. Anything to say on that? Or
Nope.
let's see, Kane was still the big bad of the multiverse saga until early 2024, and they decided to pivot to Doctor Doom. Yeah, we know all that. Let's see, Doomsday and Secret Wars are the main priority. They're going back to run things the way they used to with a 10-year plan for the next mutant saga, which to me, that makes sense. We'll talk about it with the TV stuff, but it's just kind of funny where we've gone on. But yeah, that's where it's like right now we have, I could be wrong. I'm gonna go fill up my water bottle, Taylor, because I'm very parched. Can you look up and just confirm with me for next year and the year after? Do we have any other MCU movies other than the Avenger movies? So look that up and talk to the people.
Ooh, let's see here. All right, with him gone, first things first. What do we got here? Nope. Oh yeah, Feeding the Ducks. We like this track. All right, so, ladies and gentlemen, upcoming Marvel movies in 2025. So we knew that we had Thunderbolts, Ironheart's a series, Fantastic Four, First Steps, that's a movie, Eyes of Wakanda is another series, Marvel Zombies is a series.
Okay.
Wonder Man, forgot about Wonder Man.
No, so just me movies, not shows.
Isn't Wonder Man, it says it's a movie.
No, it's a show.
What? Oh my god.
I did remember one, so obviously we got Spider-Man, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, just get the movies. Wonder Man's a lie. Because right now, if you look, obviously Thunderbolts, not doing amazingly box office wise, but it sounds like it's like good enough. But the run of, if Taylor confirms this for me, Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, Doomsday, Spider-Man, and Secret Wars. That's the 5. Can you confirm that for me?
I think you are pretty spot on with that.
So you look at that Fantastic Four, which I think obviously the Thunderbolt stuff did help it, but with that we still have to see. Hey, do people care about that 4? We'll find out. What you laughing about?
Just Blade.
Right, Blade, but nothing did, right? So like Fantastic Four, even then, I still think it's going to be a hit. I think it's going to be successful. Looks good, cast is good, and it's going to play into the greater MCU. If you look at that run of 5 movies, Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, Doomsday, Spider-Man, and then Secret Wars, you're pretty much just, when we talked about in that last cast about like the S tier characters, I would say those are all almost S tier ones, right? Like, okay, Thunderbolts is B tier, maybe Fantastic Four is A tier, but like Spider-Man and 2 Avengers movies, those are S tier, right? So it's like, and even then, I think that's not a bad thing if next year all we got is Spider-Man Avengers, and the year after all we got is Avengers, or Secret Wars. That's not a bad thing, because last year we had just Deadpool and Wolverine, right? And that made over $1 billion. I'm not saying that, if you just do one Marvel movie a year, you'll make $1 billion. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that sometimes, and even Iger said that today, and even this report's like, sometimes less is more. And I think in this situation where you're trying to build people back up, like get them back in, if you're leading with your big guns, F4, Spider-Man, and 2 Avengers, I think that is a way that if all those can hit and do well, people will start to kind of fall back in love with the MCU. And guess what? The rumored movies that are coming up, they're not official, but it's Doctor Strange 3, Thor 5, and Black Panther 3. Those are characters that are running
You don't
around.
think there could be an X-Men movie stuck in there?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. So, okay, even that 4. Let's say after Secret Wars, the next 4 movies are Doctor Strange, Black Panther 3, Thor 5, and X-Men. Those are also 4 just like big movies right in a row, right? And maybe they don't got to do all 4 in a year. Please don't do that. But that's what I mean when it's like, okay, what's next? Well, that's where you have S tier characters. That's where I'm sorry. I think that's where like people like Shang-Chi, it's not going to happen like a movie. Like other ones that are like, I'm trying to think, like we talked about that already, like Ant-Man, like Captain Marvel. Like I don't think that's going to be the case. So I think that's where, okay, I've just finished Secret Wars. What's next? Okay, Doctor Strange 3. Oh, I love Doctor Strange. He's from the Infinity Saga. Like, he's been around for a while. I still love Doctor Strange. Oh, I love Thor 5. Or, like, I love Chris Hemsworth. Like, Black Panther, we'll see. That's a bit more tricky because Chadwick, but still, like, Ryan Coogler's going to come off Sinners, right? They're going to use that promotion, be like the guy who's created this, like, very original, hyped up movie, Sinners, like. So I think that's the thing where they can have a really, really good run and win people back. And that is the positive they have. That sure, their brand's a little tough. Like it had some tough times, but like I said, they have some big heavy hitters. DC doesn't have that right now. They got Superman, they got to hope that hits, and then Supergirl, but it's like, you know, Clayface maybe, you know, like the Authority, some other stuff where it's like they don't have Batman on the docks, they don't have Wonder Woman on the docks, they got a Green Lantern show, which I think is a mistake. I think that should be a movie, it shouldn't be a show. So no, like I think making a 10, and like the X-Men should have a 10-year plan. That to me is like a no duh, and that's one thing that does show to me. I know Taylor's called him the Golden Goose a couple times, or Golden Egg. I do think that shows that Feige, as long as things go well, is going to be around for at least 10 more years. I thought after Secret Wars he might walk away, but I think it sounds like he's going to be sticking around. But yeah, do you think they can get, the other point here is everyone in the studio is fully aware that superhero fatigue is real, and that's what's currently driving them to make better entertainment. Do you agree with me that if they can, again, these movies, I'm not saying have to be all-timers, but they still, I think, have to be at least the quality of I'll say Thunderbolts, like an Avengers movie, the quality of Thunderbolts, like they have to be good. Do you think if they can make those movies at least people happy with them and leading with these big tier ones, that they can kind of bring some people back and maybe not get to the glory of Endgame days, but kind of get maybe even like end of phase 1, phase 2-ish as far as some hype again?
I absolutely think if they handle their cards right with these few projects, just hypothetically the ones you listed off.
And even if Blade did happen, that would be big for them, I think,
That would
right?
be big. That would be big. I think that there is absolutely enough pull that you could kind of garner in a little bit of that community back in here, and just the OGs and the fandom and whatnot. There's totally enough pull. I mean, leading into Avengers, that's one thing that's going to capture attention. But you have a Spider-Man 4, and you got, again, you drop that. Hey, we got an X-Men movie officially coming out. We got another Thor, because Chris Hemsworth, he still brings in a big crowd. People like him as Thor. So I think that there's lots and lots of potential. Maybe you get another Guardians, right? The follow up to see what's going on there with Chris Pratt, right? Because I guess the other actual Guardians team with Rocket and with
they need to be killed off. They need to be killed off. Yeah, absolutely. That team sucks. They need to be killed off Doomsday. And yeah, if you want to do a Chris Pratt with them with a new team, but I think Guardians is tricky with no gun there. I think that's a tricky one. So. Plus, same thing is you don't have those actors back, right? Like Batista's not coming back. So, Superman Mike says Shang-Chi had the potential to be A tier after the movie comes out, but Marvel's lack of commitment stopped that. I can agree. For me, it's just tough because I've said this many times. Like, I really don't know because of COVID, right? That's the bad thing with Eternals, Black Widow, Shang-Chi. We don't know how those movies really would have done in the normal world. And maybe Shang-Chi, and it still was the best of those COVID ones. So you could say that's the potential for them, right? That could be, hey, this out of all the COVID movies that were new, Shang-Chi did the best. Let's follow up. I feel like they're going to revisit that after Secret Wars, which is kind of funny because the end of Shang-Chi, remember, it's like the 10 rings will return. And I haven't seen them return or anything. But yeah, like that could happen, but I think they make it a smaller budget one. But I think it's, again, they're going to go on. If you're maybe Feige would disagree, but if you're a studio head and you got a board and you got Shang-Chi, but then you got F4, like even the sequels, right? X-Men, Spider-Man, Blade, Thor, Black Panther, Doctor Strange. Even to me, a new Guardians movie with a new team, I feel like people are like, yeah, green light that before you do Shang-Chi. That's my issue. I just feel like Shang-Chi's down the totem pole, especially if we were in the era where they're doing 4 movies a year and they're all successful, then sure. But as we've talked about in this report, and we're going to talk about another report coming up, we're not in that era anymore where they're just going to start pumping stuff out. So I think that's where they're going to be choosy. And I think Shang-Chi might end up in like team up stuff more. Again, what we talked about before, he might be a part when they do, if they don't do a Captain America 5 and an Ant-Man 4, Shang-Chi will be on the Avengers, but he'll just be an Avengers character now. The Avengers movie will just be a team of characters now instead of a big crossover. So Patrick Rogue says Chris Pratt won't be a part of another Guardians movie. He'll be in Secret Wars. So I agree. I don't think he will be, but you never know. Money does a lot of things. So let's take an ad break, and then we'll be right back with a few other Marvel news. So we'll be right back. And we are back. So let's talk about this. I'm going to put these two together. So Hawkeye season 2, we got some mixed stuff going on here. So this is not a rumor, not anything like that, a C-tier or anything like that. Jeremy Renner said that he was on deck to do season 2, but then they offered him half what he got paid for season 1. So that has, subsequently stalled the show. But then there's been rumors that they've talked about just going on without him. And then this is kind of like similar to stuff we've been talking about tonight, but just want to bring it in where there is a report that Vision is going to be the last show that's going to feature a major like movie character. And in the future, this was some from the previous report, but I kept it here that they didn't say live action, but I'm assuming live action, that Marvel from now on wants to keep it to only 1 to 2 Disney Plus Marvel shows a year, and they want to be secluded stories, so something like Daredevil or even like Werewolf by Night, stuff like that, and they want to be smaller characters again. So what are your thoughts here on this Hawkeye business of Jeremy Renner just out and about saying, hey, I want to come back, but they offer me half? And then what do you think about now that it sounds like we're still gonna get shows, but it's gonna be few and far in between, and it sounds like you're not gonna get what we did before where it's like, oh, Loki and Cap and Wanda. It sounds like Vision's gonna be the last of that era of movie characters being on TV.
I'm totally okay with them cutting back on the movie show or movie characters to the TV show characters and crossing those two worlds together. I'm okay with them cutting back on that. I don't need that to be as religious as it may have been in the past. Pick one and let that be the one that hill you die on. Now, as for what was the first half of that question?
The Renner.
God. Yes, the Renner.
Yeah.
So I watched that interview, and it was just interesting here because he was on like a podcast or something like that, and he was talking about it when he got the information, like, oh, they want to pay me half, and he takes a good shot at Disney when he's like, what I'm half a man? Is that what they're paying me for? But it's worth it to note how he says this as well. It's not like it's Disney, right? It's people that are above, like,
no, he said it's not like it's Marvel.
Yeah, exactly. So it's people that are above that. Again, the people in suits, the ones that are like investors and stuff like that. They're the ones that are making those kind of shots. So it's not Marvel. It's not people that are on the team. It's not Feige or anything like that. But I hope that because of that, if they wanted to bring in Clint as a character, then I imagine that's because Feige sees there being an important kind of trajectory for that character and how to steer the overall narrative. And so if the investors are being asses about this and whatnot, then I hope Feige can like look at it and kind of address it. I'm not saying that they're going to figure out a way to get Jeremy Renner back in, but I just think that it's interesting that this had happened, and hopefully people that hold a lot of pull at Marvel can take that up to the upstairs and really hammer out some of the stupidity of it, because I mean he's an OG Avengers member, and I get
unless they're not that bothered by it, unless they're like, all right, whatever, right? Like we talk about it as like a romanticized, like, oh, original Avenger, I'm sure Feige want that, but what if it's like, yeah, like we talk about money and Disney Plus and how they're scaling back. What if they're like, okay, if you're gonna do a Hawkeye season 2, you get it for this much money, and they go to Renner, it's like, hey, this is what we got, take it or leave it, because like I imagine the money they don't pay him, they can just throw into Steinfeld's contract. She's ready to be there. I think now more than ever is the time to strike with her after Sinners, because you talk about, like, everyone, like, if you've seen the movie, if you haven't seen the movie, you used to know there's a few explicit scenes that she has that have been, I feel like the algorithm on my Facebook and Twitter always pop up the conversation she has with Smokes, both at the dance and at the train station, about the things she says. And I feel like Haley Steinfeld in general is always very popular, but I think this is the most popular she's ever been, is where he capitalized. So I'm not saying that, oh yeah, Kevin Feige was like, oh, fuck him. Because, yeah, it could just be purely, hey, that's all we have to offer. And maybe he'll be in one of these Avengers movies. But at the same time, that would be let's say there was a conspiracy theory in my mind if they didn't want to really have Renner, like they weren't bothered by it. What's the easiest way? Well, just offer him half, because then it's like, well, if he says yes, then we get him for a reduced amount. If he says no, then whatever, we move along. And that's the same thing. We don't know, because he didn't say this in the interview. We don't know when this happened, right? So this could have happened a while back ago, and now it may just be dead in general. Or maybe it's a situation where maybe he's like contracted, but that's what they're doing, where, okay, this is what we're going to pay you. And like, if Vision's, like, does that count? To me, if like Vision's the last show, well, like we're talking about the stories together, it's like, well, then if didn't they do if they did Hawkeye with season 2 with Renner, that would be another major movie character in a sense, right? Doing that show again, where
Hmm.
Steinfeld's not. She's not. I guess she's in one movie, right? She's in the Marvels for an end credit, but like she's not a major movie character yet. So I don't know. I think it fits, but I also, as much as I'm somebody that likes Clint Barton a lot more than other people, both in comics and the movies. I do want him to come back. I like that idea of the raid storyline they were pitching. But if you also were to tell me, hey, we're going to do Hawkeye season 2, it's just Haley Steinfeld, I'll still be relatively excited for that because I like her as an actress and I can see the potential there. So we'll see. But I think it's going to be the next few years. It's going to be, and again, I think you could tell a Haley Steinfeld, Kate Bishop story that is just secluded by itself. But then also, I'd like to see her in the movie. So I don't
Hmm.
know. And then with Vision, yeah, to me, it just makes sense. It's something where we're gonna find out next year with Mandalorian and Grogu. But I had made that comparison where even with the shows we talked about, other than Moon Knight, it seemed like all the shows that did well on Disney Plus were the people that came from the movies because it's people that have an established brand. But we talk about like the Marvels. I don't think Miss Marvel or Rambo really helped that movie, right? The
Hmm.
Thunderbolts, like other than Ghost, well, no, I guess it's a mix, right? But like John Walker, that's a Disney Plus character. There's a couple other Disney Plus characters there where I think like people just they know them now, but they didn't know them back then if they didn't check them out or they missed it or that show didn't interest them at all. So I think it makes sense. I think it's smart to keep them separate. I think it's kind of like if you want to see these people, you have to pay for them, and that's why what I was referring to is that's why I'm so interested to see how Mandalorian and Grogu does next year because I wonder if even for Star Wars, if people feel oh. I can watch Grogu at home. I got 3 seasons of Grogu. I don't. Why do I need to go pay? Especially because like the rumor is that was Mandalorian season 4, and they just turned into a movie like Moana. And difference for me with Moana is Moana, there was only one Moana, and then you got a sequel movie. There's lots of Mandalorian and Grogu, right? So let's see. Patrick says, or Patrick says, frankly, Hawkeye had been the least impactful Avengers of the original 6. I guess it depends, like in meaning, like overall world. Then yeah, sure. Story wise, I can't agree with that because like I'm more connected to Clint Barton than Natasha, and that's not
Hmm.
ScarJo's fault. That's the way the movie is. Like I don't think ScarJo got anything. And again, it's the way the character's written. The Endgame opening when Clint's hanging out with his family and they go missing, we never got anything as good as that with Natasha, in my opinion, right? Even his like to me, you look at the subplot in Age of Ultron, his subplot is with the twins and getting Scarlet Witch to become an Avenger and talking about like how bad things can be, or at the end of that mission when he lays down and he's beside dead Quicksilver, and it's just such a sad, depressing thing where it's like for like a minute it's kind of like his protege, where like what's Black Widow's storyline in Age of Ultron? It's like, well, I'm a monster too. I can't have kids. It's like,
Yeah.
all right, like again, that's not Natasha. So for me, I'd have to disagree as far as like what I agree importance wise, right? Importance wise in the overall universe, yeah, Black Widow because she fucking sacrificed herself for the Soul Stone. But yeah, we'll see. I think it's smart to keep movie characters on movie, and only thing that sucks for me now is, man, I said this in the Discord. It just feels like we're back to where we started, like when we started this podcast. Because it's funny, like we had like shows, and then we had the Marvel shows that were pretty separate by themselves. And then as things gone on, it's like, oh, we're gonna do the streaming shows and everything's gonna be connected and yet and oh, we're gonna have so much on streaming. And now it's like, oh, companies are pulling back on streaming and making sure things theatrical, like a Moana 2 or Mandalorian and Grogu, right? And now it's like, well, we're gonna get back to doing TV shows, but they're gonna be smaller budget and they're not really gonna be connected to the main overall story. Like just like Jessica Jones, just like Daredevil. So my only sadness of this is, man, I'm gonna be really bummed if Charlie Cox finally got to MCU. He's on Disney Plus, and if because they're doing this whole like, well, we want TV and shows and movies to be separate. If he never ends up in the movies, man, what a bummer. Like both times, this guy just fucking misses out on like teaming up with people. You know, like throw him a bone, make him be Avengers. So and then our last stories for the night here, just a combo of mixing of news. So we got some John Wick updates, so which I'm very, very excited by this because I was someone that said like, sure, the Kane movie is what I'll watch it, but what I really wanted was I think her name is Akira. I can't remember if it is, but the girl that was in John Wick 4, who was like the daughter of the guy from Shogun, and then she killed him. There was an end credit. You remember that girl,
Mm.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
So she's confirmed for the Kane spinoff. There's a John Wick 5 update. The director said the saga of John Wick was pretty wrapped. So the only way to do 5 is if you have a new story that involves John Wick. It's not a continuation with the High Table. John dealt with his grief. It'll be really different. Everybody will see that the trailer and go, holy fuck, I gotta see that. Those are the two John Wick updates. And then Clayface has a new writer. I don't think you have much more to say on that. That's more for me just to rant off here in a second because I'm a big Mike Flanagan fan. But what do you think about these John Wick? You happy shoes and Kane, and what do you think about John Wick 5? Do you think they're gonna be able to get you to just say, "Holy fuck, I gotta see that"?
I think that John Wick 4 had a fantastic ending, and pushing it, I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do, but money speaks, and they want to keep on going. Yeah. I am intrigued to see what they're gonna do, but I think that the daughter of the I think it was the Japanese hotel that was like sanctuary. I can't remember all the terms or whatnot, but I really I'm glad that we're gonna get to see a follow up with that daughter and Kane, especially just with the way that they left things in the end of the previous movie, just setting it up. So I'm so happy that we're gonna get the follow up to that because there's a lot that needs to be explored.
Do you think we're gonna have a movie where, because he was the antagonist, the last one, had some moments where not that he was a good guy, but like partner with Wick, they had a respect. Do we get the movie where him, the killer of this woman's dad, that they team up and work together somehow, or do you think we have a movie where the protagonist is being hunted by somebody that we should be kind of cheering for, right? Because most of the time it's like, well, root for the bad guy to get the good guy, but in this situation you kind of would be because this Donnie Yen killed her father, right? So it's like, oh, we shouldn't be cheering for him. So do you think they end up working together, or do you think it's some weird way where it is, our protagonist is a bad guy that has to get taken down?
Oh, they're gonna work together for sure. Yeah, I think it makes sense. It's the next natural step for things, even though it's it's not alluded to or set up that way. I think that something will happen, not the Continental, but it could be the what do you call it, the agency or whatever. Is like, oh, you guys didn't do this right, so we're gonna come after you, and they gotta team up John Wick style or something like that. So
how do you feel about this? Because I've seen people pitch this before. If we get John Wick in hell.
No. Killing demons and stuff. I don't need it to be paranormal. He's the Baba Yaga in the physical realm. I don't need the Baba Yaga in the spiritual realm.
Yeah, I'm torn because don't get me wrong. If that was the trailer, that is like, I don't know if I'm like excited, but it is like, okay, what the fuck are they doing here? I gotta see this, right? Like that is like this is something different. I just don't. I feel like that for me is like a comic or animation movie I would enjoy more than like the live action. And don't get me wrong, let's see it. That's a wild, wacky way to go. But at the same day, it's still like, well, I guess he did die. He just went to hell, and that's like, I don't know. I'd have to definitely see the trailer and go from there because my complaint about this has been, hey, if he's alive, that hurts John Wick 4. So I guess in the movie, in John Wick 5, if he is dead and it's him like battling hell, it's like, well, I guess he is dead. I just wouldn't have come back alive. But we'll see. I think Taylor's right about with the Kane spinoff, they'll likely team up. But I hope I'm wrong, or I hope they team up that she fucking kills in the end. The movie I wanted was her movie hunting down Kane. Now, obviously, it's different because Kane was a more popular character. He's directing this, so he has to be the main character. But I want him to eat it. I want her to kill him. I want the revenge. So I hope it is. I hope they do something bold where our protagonist is the bad guy and the antagonist is the good guy hunting them down. So we'll see. And then, Taylor, you can respond after I rant for just a second, and then we're done with this episode here. But so, Mike Flanagan, and this will come with some bias because, like, I'm a big fan of Mike Flanagan. Love Haunting Hill House, Midnight Mass. It's just fucking one of the best horror things ever. And then he has a litany of other good things. Doctor Sleep is fantastic. I'm excited for his Carrie series, and I'm excited for there's another one he's doing. But anyway, so last year at some point we heard it was rumored, and then whatever, it's been official, right? That okay, they're doing a Clayface movie. And I had already said before, not really a fan of this because don't get me wrong, I trust James Gunn way more than these Sony Marvel movies, right? But it's that sense of And I get it. They got the whole mess with the Batman and they don't know what they're doing with their Batman. But I don't want to be in a world where I meet Clayface before we meet Batman. The same way we met Morbius and Venom and Madam Web before we met that Spider-Man. And guess what? We never met that Spider-Man. So fuck us, right? But I don't want that. I'm all for Batman fights Clayface and then we get that movie. That's more the route that I'd like to go. Just call me old-fashioned, right? But I was always like, okay, even though he can't direct, which was a bummer because he's busy with stuff, even though he can't direct, I am excited because Mike Flanagan, one of the best directors, I'd say for current directors, for what I like, he's in my top 10 for favorites right now. And he wrote the script and he'd been working on it for a while because there's rumors of this or like 2 years ago, like 2024. So we've been working on this and then they greenlit it and they said, okay, it's going to be a horror movie. It's going to be, like in the vein of Substance, actor taking this thing, trying to get better, yet to improve his career. It's shooting October 1st. Now, this is bouncing off last week, I think. I think it was last week. Yeah, me and Dylan talked about how Sergeant Rock was supposed to be filming, and depends which scoop we ask. Some people say it's canceled. Some people say it's pushed back. Either way, issues with that, right? And now there's this where you go, okay, there is going to be a rewrite on the script. Now, for me, here's the thing. Rewrites happen all the time in Hollywood. I get it. I think it's difficult for me because the pitch of everything against me or everything for this film was against my fiber of wanting it. But it's like, okay, this guy that I really like and many others like, he wrote the draft. He wrote the screenplay, not draft. He wrote or at least the first draft. He wrote that. So here we go. So it's like, okay, it's getting rewritten, which sucks. And here's the two things that just make me pause. And here's two quotes from James Gunn. This was a question. Someone says, this was like months ago, right? Is Clayface officially the third DCU film? Why didn't you choose more prominent characters like the Flash or Wonder Woman? Fuck, just I love this. But he responded, because the number one rule here at DC, no movie will get the green light before the script is ready. Okay, let's start there. I'm not on some fucking like James Gunn witch hunt, right? I like all Guardians films. I gave it 10. I like the Suicide Squad. I like James Gunn. It seems like he seems like a cool guy that I'd love to hang out and talk movies with, like shoot the shit with. I have no personal problems. It's just like things that I still got to call it, right? So we talked about a couple months ago of like, when it first came up that there was a Batman, he said, I never thought about Robert Pattinson being the Batman, like in our universe. And then like jumped to a year later where he's like, well, we considered it. So it's like, okay, that's odd, right? And I don't know if it's, and people can change their mind, right? But it's just like, I think with James Gunn, he just says things in such like a direct statement way where it's like, this is it. And this is why maybe he should stay off social media. It was great to start with to clarify, but this idea of, and he said this before, and I think that's a great policy because we talk about Marvel, other stuff. We're not going to give anything green light till the script's ready. And that's what's the situation. They get the script from Mike Flanagan. Yeah, Clayface, green light, go. But now it's getting rewrote. So if the script wasn't ready, why'd it get green light? In his own words, no movie will be greenlit before the script is ready. To me, if you're rewriting the script, it is not ready. There's a reason, even one of my scripts I show the guys, I don't show them till I feel like it's fully ready to go, for the most part, right? I don't get all the time to edit some spelling errors that I would like to, because sometimes we're like, we got a cab and we got to shoot this right now. But until the script is ready, I'll give them general ideas, but no, I'm gonna wait. So that's one where it's just already that seems a little iffy. And same thing with Sergeant Rock. That was greenlit, gonna shoot, and then now it's delayed or canceled, right? And then this was what he had said about this. He said, this was in a different quote to a Hollywood Reporter. We had no plans of making a Clayface movie, but Mike Flanagan turned in a script. It's one of the best scripts that we've read. Now that's great. I love that. I love that idea. Same thing. I don't think we need a Clayface movie. I don't know if that's a smart thing of you starting the DCU of let's do in your first batch, your first phase or whatever, right? God chapter, they call it, Gods and Monsters. Let's do Clayface. All right, not what I would have picked, but fine. Because you know why? If I'm sitting with James Gunn, and he's like, it's one of the best scripts I ever read, okay? I'm completely confident in you. You told me it's one of the best scripts you ever read. Go make that movie. Go green light it. But now, one of the best scripts he's ever read, it's getting rewritten. Either I take that as this is a man that has constantly changed his mind, and not in a way that I care, but he's just I don't like. This sounds harsh. Like, or he's just a fucking liar. And I don't want to make it sound like that because I feel like that's reserved for people that's like the current president right now. It's not that, but it's just like if Taylor were to come to me and let's say he's working on, like, I'm trying to think of something he would, if let's say because he's a graphic designer, his day job, let's say he came to me, right? And I said, hey, Taylor, I need a poster for, use adrenochrome, right? Imagine if Taylor, and I love the post, there's multiples, we got other ones coming in the future, it's gonna be great stuff. But for that first poster, right? And Taylor came to me, and let's say Kirkland made me some posters, Dill made me some posters, you know, Kyle went on fucking Paint and gave me a poster, and Taylor brings me a poster, and I go, man, Taylor, for adrenochrome, this is one of the best posters I've ever seen. Can't wait to use this. And then, like, Mike Flanagan doesn't probably care. Maybe he does. He probably does. But, like, he got paid. He's fine. But, like, then imagine if, and I tell my fans, I go on GeekVerse Patreon and tell everyone, hey, this poster, wait until you see it. It's the best poster I've ever seen. And then I go and hire someone to make a new poster, or at least, okay, you see this poster that Taylor Field did? Can you like change a bunch of stuff? Now, again, I don't know. We don't know what's going on. Maybe there's a situation where Batman wasn't in Flanagan's script, and because the Batman 2's delayed, they go, you know what? We do want Batman in the script. There's tons of stuff that I will try and give them the benefit of the doubt. It's just that this stuff continually happens. And for me, this one hurt because this is like one that I was looking very forward to. But just for me, it's weird. This is where he just like should stop talking in absolutes, because the general audience, they don't give a fuck about Clayface or Mike Flanagan. They're not going to care. They're going to wait till next Halloween, and when this Mud Monster movie comes out, if they want to see it or not, cool. They're not going to care about it. So when he's making these statements about like one of the best scripts I've ever read, that is for us, Taylor, or other fans that listen to this podcast or watch or are in the sphere, right? Of like, we care. So to stop, like, I think like stoking those fires, I just feel like just don't say that stuff until it's like it's made. Like, let's say Clayface has come out October 2026, and it's like, yeah, this is one of the best scripts we ever read, and it's out in a month or two. I can't wait for you to see it. It just feels odd for him to say, hey, we're not greenlighting anything till the script's done, and now it's getting rewritten. And hey, this is one of the best scripts we've ever read. Well, we're gonna get rewrite. Like, to me, like when I got the Adrenochrome poster, like the one we use for that's on like Letterboxd and whatnot, I was very happy with it, and I was like, you know what? I need to go get a second opinion and get this remade. So it just, like I said, I don't know what you have to add this, but it just feels like something's off. And what I hate about from what happened last week to this, and I'll give him credit. Stephen Colbert had this tweet that I love, where you remember in Watchmen where there's Dr. Manhattan and he's on Mars, and it's that meme
Building
of like
his machine thing.
yeah, but it's always the meme of like, I'm here in 1994 and this is happening. I'm here in 2004 and this is happening. And that's just what it feels like. We're in August coming on 10 years. And it just feels like, again, where James Gunn was supposed to be like, hey, this is the shining light. This is something. And I'm not saying it's anywhere near the problems we had before, especially the Zack Snyder era, right? Where they just fucking took this guy's film away, did all this stuff. Like, hopefully not. But it's just like, and Marvel, look, we just talked about Marvel. They've had tons of problems too lately, right? But like with DC, they've just never had a smooth patch. And I was hoping it was this. And it's just like, again, it's like last week, this fucking project canceled or delayed. Okay. This week, best script I've ever read. One of the best scripts I've ever read. But we're going to get it rewritten. It just feels like, again, it's just, here we are, 2025, May, talking about like DC. It's like, what's going on here? So I don't know what you have to take from anything. If you think this is overreaction from me or what you think about this stuff. But yeah, long story short is Clayface has a script. It's getting rewritten currently.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I thought things were kind of more cemented in stone when it came to this Clayface project. I thought things were a little bit more streamlined.
One of the best scripts he's ever read, Taylor. You would think that, you know?
You'd think that. So, I mean, the only Clayface that I've, again, seen so far, and under this new umbrella, is the one from Creature Commandos. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know, maybe the powers to be are looking at that and like, yeah, we want Clayface to be more like that and not what is written in these scripts, which would be a very, very bad mistake. It should be the other way around. Yeah, I don't think that this is as problematic as other things are, you know, with the script being written. Is it a problem? Yes, but it's not, for longevity's sake, problematic in comparison to other projects that have been canceled and whatnot, like the Trench movie, if you remember that one ages ago.
Yeah, the Trench. Yeah, it was supposed to be a Trench / Black Manta movie. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
I remember
yeah.
that,
So At the end of the day, I think that they can make a few losses right now. They can take a few hits because of it still being so early on, and we haven't even had like have we had their first theatrical one?
No, that's
I don't
Superman.
think that's Superman.
July.
Yeah,
So that's the
the
real.
first.
That's the real test.
So we got time. We got time, and I don't know. Maybe they say that they're rewriting the scripts, but maybe it could just be like, all right, in the long run, let's just wait and see how Superman does, just to kind of gauge a bit more before we sink some more money into this project and we get the ball really, really rolling. Because Clayface is one of those more obscure, dare I say, niche characters. Not
Absolutely.
everyone knows about
No.
Clayface, and you don't think, oh, he's a Batman villain. You definitely don't think
You think
that.
Massa knows who Clayface is?
Oh, I'll have to test her and ask her. I don't think so. And if
3
she were
a.m..
3 a.m., yeah.
You know who Clayface is?
She would probably assume it's something Marvel related, to be honest.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. And again, Superman has to come out. That has to happen. We'll see. Again, that it's all again. This could all be for null because Superman could come out and fucking underperform or bomb, and there goes the DCU, and we hardly knew ye. But just feels odd. And again, all I'm saying is just maybe you don't get say statements for that because I like to believe. I like to try and especially with people I like believe them. So when I believe, okay, I'm iffy on this project, but if you're telling me this script, and I'm not saying that means it's gonna be great, right? I don't know what James Gunn's like personal likes are. Maybe it's a shit script, and he's like, this is one of the best I've ever read. But I kind of hope that means something. But alas, we'll just have to wait and see and find out what happens next few weeks. We're rumored to be getting a Superman trailer next week, so I think. Unless that drops on a day where we're already doing like or Last of Us or something like that, then that might be me and Kirkland's main topic for Weekly Geek next week. We didn't talk about, but next week they're dropping a Peacemaker trailer as well. So they still got stuff going on, still stuff excited. Just we'll have to see what happens. But yes, that is the end of this episode. So thank you very much for tuning in. We'll be back next week, and I promise you it'll not be